We're live.
Luna, you say that both of you say freaky shit. I don't want to hear it.
We do. Yeah, well, that one does worse than me.
You guys are equally freaky.
That one does worse than me.
No, you guys are both freak-a-leak. I don't want to hear it.
Okay, we're restarting. It's a play.
The stream is ready. Let me get it.
You know, I will jump you.
Yeah.
Sorry?
What am I doing? I'm trying to get us to start.
They're not ready. Chill.
Luna is ready. What do you mean?
I'm actively linking it. Guys, this is in fact streaming right now.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's streaming? Are you sure?
Go check in readings.
Well, I'm gonna go ball my eyes out and see if
I
can
have a notification that Luna is streaming.
Maybe I can.
There we go.
The stream is set.
Sad
When the girl 39, RUTH Reading 31725. They're my notifications right now.
If I can maybe get the actual story up, and I don't need you to have it like streaming, but I don't know if I can.
I have it streaming. There's just a lot of a delay. I have it streaming for all the folks who aren't, you know.
No, I mean like
the fic, the actual fic.
Yes.
Like the actual fic. So I have to get that real quick.
Okay.
RUTH.
We're on 41, right?
Yes.
Oh fuck, no, it's not. It's running up that hill. I'm so stupid.
Here's the link in the chat. You can go to the readings chat, and I just posted the link to the chapter we're on.
Oh, thank God.
Alternatively, I could stream it.
If I can't get to it, then please. Because I don't know if it'll work for me. Because it might not. Because my thing's a little funky wonky little guy.
You know what? Actually, I'm pulling that tab out because we don't need to see all of the rest of my tabs.
No, let's see your tabs. Show us your tabs.
Your tabs.
You're gonna see 15 Google documents.
Okay, so I can't. Okay, so I can't get to it. Sobbing.
Oh.
Then watch the stream.
I'm sorry. No, I mean like Hold on.
Okay then.
I literally. The world hates me.
Let's start then.
Thank you, Darkwing.
Everyone remember their roles. Who's narrating this?
I don't. Tell me if you do.
I think I shouldn't be remember my role.
Who am I again?
You're blue and red.
Oh yes, I'm the colors. You wish.
Thank you, AO3 Linker, for actually working for once.
Yay,
the one time we don't need it to.
Love that.
Have I hit emoji limit yet? How far is this gonna go? Oh, I did it.
If you saw my email, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
really
It doesn't
don't.
let me add anymore. Are we waiting? Are we being creatures? Refeaturing?
Yes.
Who's narrating?
Go.
Me or?
Preferably you.
Okay.
And I will read next chapter, and then we will alternate if that works. Okay.
Yep. Edge woke up, alert as always, sockets blinking open the moment his internal clock hit 7 a.m. For a moment, he was a little confused why he was so warm, but when he glanced down, he just had to smile. Apollo was nuzzled comfortably under his jaw, Desi curled into Apollo's back. He squeezed them both tighter to his chest, being mindful of Apollo's missing sternum and deliberately not touching Desi's upper spine. He didn't know much about Desi's past traumas, but Edge knew he didn't like his neck or most of his spine being touched. He'd learned the hard way about 3 months before when Desi flinched hard enough to throw himself into a wall. Edge didn't ask questions. He never did. Just gently stabilized him, gave him a moment to breathe, and moved on. The only real difference in their relationship now was that he had permission to kiss him. Edge thinks he should probably ask. Nah, he'll just figure out by watching. Edge really hated asking questions. Apollo hummed softly into Edge's neck, forcing him to shiver a little and immediately bringing his attention to him. Apollo was a very new addition to Edge's life. He wasn't at all expecting to gain a soft spot for him, not in the slightest. Maybe it was a respectful thing? Apollo was at a higher position in the guard, which was impressive and, kinda hot. Apollo being shorter was cute. Maybe Edge just thought he was attractive. But he liked his personality the most, if that wasn't too corny. Edge isn't corny or cheesy. Why do humans have such weird phrases? Edge thought Apollo was funny, in the same way Kiko was, and Sarah. He was much sweeter on Apollo, though. Honestly, he wasn't sure why. It just felt right to him. A fist beat lightly into his chest, startling him out of his thoughts. He raised a brow to Apollo, who was sleepily, adorably glaring at him.
I can hear you thinking. Go back to bed.
Edge chuckled softly, leaning down to press a kiss to Apollo's forehead. You conflict me, dear. Part of me wants to apologize and listen. The other part wants to say, make me. Apollo raised a brow and smirked.
I know plenty of ways to shut people up, Captain.
Edge felt his face heat as he narrowed his sockets at Apollo. Playing with fire, dear. Apollo moved up, gently pushing Edge onto his back and helping Desi settle next to him, curled into Edge's side as Apollo perched on Edge's lap.
Give me a month to leave prepare for this.
Wait.
Frick. I happen to have experience with that.
He grinned mischievously before purring out.
Captain. I asked to be shot.
You can't be shot. You're screaming.
Shot in a video game, in a video game, in a video game.
What the frick?
Dead.
I got this, guys. I got this.
Yeah, there's a reason. I was like, yeah, you got this.
Okay, have fun. Okay, have fun flying blue.
My soul leaving my body listening to this one.
This is one of the few. I don't have a voice for Apollo.
I have powers. You're just not in Minecraft.
Don't shoot me.
I just realized it would have been so much funnier if we were sitting in Grillby's because I literally could have done slash kill.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm opening Minecraft for this reason.
I'm good on Minecraft. Time to get
Guys, please,
Okay,
back on track. Back on track.
Back on track. Have fun effing blue, okay?
You know it's bad whenever I'm having to do this. Guys,
I'm sorry,
come on.
what?
Don't worry about it.
Continue, how about
No one can worry.
Continuing on. That blushed heavily, leaning heavily against the wall as he attempted to recover his dignity. Since they started dating, Blue took to occasionally pinning him against the nearest vertical surface, kissing him senseless for a few minutes, then scurrying away before Helvetica could even begin to recover. So, there he was in the garage, mourning the fact that he definitely wouldn't be able to ride his bike to work that morning thanks to the agitated pool of magic between his legs. Thanks, Blue. He took a deep breath and forced himself into his Jeep, blasting the AC and pulling out of the garage, the driveway. It took a half of the 30-minute ride to work for his magic to dissipate, and Vet was already planning his revenge. Bastard. Edge was a blushing mess by the time Apollo finally pulled away from biting and sucking marks into his neck. Apollo surveyed them with a pleasant smile, tapping Edge's throat lightly.
You're very pretty. I'm not sure if I like you better quiet or not, but it does feel great to be the one that shuts you up.
Edge huffed, still trying to catch his breath in recovery from the last bite. Apollo had found the sweet spot on his collarbone and bit hard enough to force the air from his lungs and knock his head back into the headboard. Fuck off! Apollo snickered and pressed a kiss to Edge's middle cheek.
You're adorable.
Oh. Desi, who'd woken up to the blatantly incredible view of Edge laid on his back with his sockets and jaw clenched firmly shut and a hand slapped over his mouth in a desperate attempt to keep quiet, snickered.
He is.
He leaned up to press a kiss to his other cheek, and Edge couldn't help but lean into it. He was very soft on Desi. Edge sighed softly, pleasantly, before gently patting Apollo's thigh. Apollo immediately took it as a hint to get off, so he shifted his weight to his knee to free him, laying on Desi's chest. Desi grinned and hugged him tight, which Apollo laughed at and kissed him under the jaw for. Edge smiled lightly at his boys, leaning down to kiss both their foreheads before getting up to work. My shift starts in... He checked his phone on the nightstand for the time. 2 hours. I have to get dressed. Shot a playful glare at Apollo. I'll have to wear a turtleneck under my scrubs. Apollo snickered.
Suffer.
Edge fought the urge to lunge at him for revenge, clearing his throat and failing to force down his smile before turning to his closet. He didn't mind stripping his shirt off, slipping a thin black turtleneck over his cracked ribs, but he hesitated to remove his pants. Apollo and Desi clocked it and turned away, engaging in a hushed conversation about something. All he caught was something beetle. He debated wearing slacks and just changing at work, but ended up just putting his scrubs on. Edge checked his phone for the time again before striding back to the bed and letting a gentle hand rest in the crook of Apollo's neck to stabilize himself as he leaned forward to kiss Desi. Desi blushed badly, tilting his head up in efforts to kiss back, as much as a skeleton could without slipping tongue. Then Edge slipped tongue. Apollo couldn't help but fluster as well at the show, blinking owlishly up at them. By the time they were done, all three of them were blushing badly enough to paint a late sunset on the window pane in their respective colors of red, pink, and orange. Edge and Desi panted softly in each other's air before Edge went in for a shorter, sweeter kiss. Pulled away not long after, turning his attention to Apollo, who blinked again.
My turn?
Edge snickered, leaning down to claim Apollo's mouth. Edge had only just slipped tongue when he heard his doorknob jiggle. He didn't have any time to pull away before his brother was standing in the open doorway, tapping something into his phone.
No. Hey, I just wanted to catch you before work to ask about the...
He glanced up at Edge and choked when he saw his little brother hurriedly pulling away from Apollo, Desi just behind them. Edge stood tall, entire skull glowing red, with his turtleneck slipped just down just enough to show red marks branded into his upper spine. Red flustered a bit, a little embarrassed to walk in on his little brother swapping spit, but shrugged it off.
Never mind. I'll ask when you get home.
Edge cleared, but it had no heat behind it. Lovely! Red couldn't help but snicker.
You guys make a cute pack.
Apollo and Desi both covered their faces and groaned, Edge sputtering, "Get the fuck out!" Edge had calmed down by the time he was leaving for work, scratching Doomfinger's ears as he passed the couch she was sprawled across. He crouched to kiss her little forehead before heading out the door, passing a very smug blue on the way out. He raised a brow, but got no explanation, so he moved on and went to work. Sarah waved as he walked through the door, putting down a thick black book with doodles of clouds and dragons on the outside of the text block. He was able to catch "Ride or Die" scrawled in handwriting he immediately recognized to not be Sarah's before she set it in her locker behind the counter.
Hey, Edge.
He waved back, slipping behind the counter to drop his bag into his own locker. "New book?" Sarah chuckled, shaking her head.
Not exactly. Borrow it.
A sad, almost fully grieving look passed over her eyes, which had Edge straightening immediately. I didn't think he'd ever seen Sarah upset about their patience not counting. He tilted his head, but didn't pry. She offered a wry smile.
I never got to give it back.
Edge's jaw clenched a little. "I'm sorry for your loss. A closer friend?" Sarah stared at a paper pinned to the corkboard for a moment, and it took Edge a minute to figure out what she was looking at. A drawing that's been there since he applied, probably longer, of Sarah and a group of friends, noticeably teens. On closer inspection, there was a signature scrawled in the bottom right corner, right next to a little "I love you guys." Couldn't tell what name the signature spelled out, but he could tell it was the same handwriting as he saw in the book. There was a little crown doodled up top the first letter. Sarah's expression went bittersweet, getting a small, pained smile.
You could say that.
Edge nodded a little. Been there. Missed his Undyne like hell sometimes, even if it was definitely for the better that he'd never see her again. Did they pass, or... Sarah shrugged.
I don't think so. They've always been too determined for their own good. They were stubborn as hell.
She paused.
But they were kind of sick. Chronically ill. They complained about it constantly. Believe me, but after they disappeared, I started to wonder if maybe they were downplaying it.
Sarah looked away from the drawing, reordering a stack of papers sitting on the countertop.
I don't think that's it, though. They weren't really a liar.
Edge mentally huffed. That sounded familiar. Vet carefully flipped through the papers given to him by the Queen, visibly softening at a very old picture of the prince before his passing.
I would give this to Higo the moment my shift is over. I'm sure he'll...
Vet blinked as Toriel stopped walking alongside him.
Your Highness?
Toriel blinked.
Oh my gosh, can I be Toriel? Because Void's...
Yeah,
Or, I don't
Alexis,
remember
go.
who did Tori last time.
Wait, huh?
I don't know. Just
Who is set as
somebody do it.
Toriel? Did we have someone set as Toriel?
Well, we had the Queen
I
of
don't
Heaven,
think so.
but I don't think we ever set
The
a
Queen.
Toriel.
I would offer
I don't
my
think
that
it's
to be
Tori.
Toriel because I have...
I could
my
do
child.
Toriel if you'd like, but also I understand.
Yeah,
Actually,
we
no,
don't
do
have
Alexis.
somebody
Let's-
as
Toriel.
Toriel.
What, huh?
Yeah, we don't have a Toriel. Just
Do
somebody.
one of the backup ones. Alexis.
So,
Alexis.
do I do it?
Go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah, you do.
right here.
Oh, my apologies, my child. I didn't. Do you ever feel as if you're forgetting something?
Vet paused.
Sometimes, yes. Would you like me to check your schedule again?
Toriel waved her hand.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. Thank you, dear. I simply thought I'd forgotten something important. I'm sure it's nothing.
Helvetica hesitated, then nodded.
Of course, Your Highness.
She huffed.
For star's sake, call me Tori.
He snickered.
Negative, my queen.
You perked up at the message from Helvetica.
Hey, Mars, Jupe, I got my first commission.
Jupiter peeked his head around the kitchen wall.
I'm the queen?
You nodded quickly.
To paint your portrait.
Mars strode a little to the back of the couch, leaning over your head and shoulders to read the message. You lifted your phone a little higher so he could see it easier. He smiled softly. Good job, Key. You're gonna do great. He offered a watery smile.
Thanks.
Mars patted your head gently. Of course. You grinned and went back on your phone when a hard shiver raced down your spine. Mars raised a brow, but you could only shrug.
No idea.
You were dead. Maybe that whole stepping on someone's grave saying was true. Probably wasn't too important.
I'm gonna go tell Paps or Apollo.
Mars nodded. Okay, we can watch NCIS later if you're not busy painting. We're about to hit the finale. You grinned.
Yeah, can we watch Gravity Falls next? I heard it was good, but I've never seen it, and the theme song is so good.
Mars chuckled, but nodded again, so you teleported to the mansion. You wandered around, waving hi to Stretch and Orion, who were playing Uno in the dining room as you passed. You went upstairs and knocked gently on Apollo's door. Mild, embarrassed panic raced through the bond, and you heard your brother's voice through the door.
Oh, frick, wait, hold up, I tapped off. 1 minute!
Take your time, kid.
You snickered, assuming he was either changing, or you just accidentally caught him masturbating or something. You didn't really care, you'd had to talk with him years ago. As long as he was being safe, you weren't judging him. After a minute, Apollo opened the door, clothes rumpled and a light hickey on his neck. He snorted, glancing behind him to see a very flustered Desi sitting on the edge of the bed. Edge.
Yes, brother?
He snickered.
I just wanted to tell you the Queen gave me her first commission order. But I think we've got to have an actual conversation now.
Apollo groaned.
But...
You patted his arm.
Are you two dating?
Apollo huffed softly, but it had no heat behind it.
Yes.
You nodded.
Edge too?
Yes. The three of us are a polycule. No one wants to just call them a pack. Shut up, Foggy. It's all very sane and consensual. We communicate. I'm an adult. The voices,
He
guys.
raised a brow.
That's all good. I'm very aware you're an adult, Apollo. Even if I don't like it.
Apollo scoffed, but he was smiling.
That's all I want to know. I trust you to make good decisions, Paps. Can I talk to Desi, though?
Apollo narrowed his sockets.
You are not giving Desi the shovel talk.
You
Fluffy,
snickered.
shut up. Continue. The voices, guys. They're real loud today.
I'm not Paps or Lax, I promise.
Apollo sighed, turning to Desi and raising a brow, asking permission to leave him alone. Aw, they're so cute. Desi nodded and Apollo stepped out. He teleported near Desi, but a healthy distance away, remembering something Les told you about Desi's unknown past. You didn't know his triggers, and you didn't want to scare the kid.
Hey, I promise I'm not gonna fuss you or threaten you.
Desi smiled.
I reckon you like my brother a little too much for that.
He snickered, but vaguely felt like he missed part of the joke.
He's my favorite.
He chuckled softly.
So, if you're not here to threaten me into not breaking your brother's heart, which
He laughed nervously.
I have no intention of doing, I promise you. What did you want to talk about?
He smiled.
I just wanted to tell you that I like you. I trust you for my brother, and that if you need anything, I've got your back. I do really like Lust, so that definitely makes me care for your safety for his sake. But you're also a papyrus, so of course I care. And if you're with Apollo, you basically have a second older brother now. Well, third if you count Red, but I think he's like everyone's older brother.
He snickered again.
He's very older brother shaped anyway.
Desi laughed softly.
Thank you, Kigo. I like you too. And Red is definitely older brother shaped. You are so right.
He grinned.
He just is.
Desi softened.
Seriously, thank you. I see the way you treat Lust and me, and I really appreciate it. You and Apollo are so accepting, and I know it's because you raised him like that. So, thank you.
Oh, okay. Don't cry. What the fuck? Don't cry.
Thanks, kid.
Desi smiled softly, and you nodded to him, getting up and letting your brother back in.
Not this one.
I've got to go work on my painting.
Apollo nodded and waved you by.
Congratulations, Kiko.
You grinned and tossed,
Thanks, you too.
over your shoulder before calling,
Use protection.
just to hear him sputter. Haha, you loved your brother.
Solving. Every day I regret choosing to offer myself as Apollo.
Red hummed, sitting crisscross on the floor of the basement, tinkering with the machine. It had flickered about an hour or so after Edge had left for work, so he was trying to figure out what happened. He didn't see any new life forms, so he wasn't all that worried, but he was curious. He glanced up to see Classic's little soul scanner on the counter next to him. He shrugged and yoinked it, popping the back off to look at the motherboard. It was very well done. Red couldn't help but find himself impressed with Classic's handiwork. As well as the fleeting wonder if Sans was good with his hand elsewhere. Because Red could be curious, damn it, when it sparked a little. He raised a brow, popping the panel back on, then looking at the screen, going to the administrative settings and checking the code. Everything looked fine, for the most part. It was weird that the scanner was directly pointed to the main machine itself, but Red supposed it made sense. Kigo was from a different universe. The machine brought him from said universe. It was probably connected in some way. He would probably ask Classic later, if he remembered or cared. He shrugged, plugging the scanner back into its power cord and leaving the basement.
Tee chapter done.
Sobs,
So,
I
silly goofy
remember.
thing, do you want to watch the animatic?
No.
Do you want to watch the animatic that got made?
Later.
That's linked in the bottom.
Later. We
Oh,
can do it later.
my fire animatic that I made.
Yes,
for...
the very much
Yeah.
fire that I caused me to
Oh,
find your Tumblr.
this?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, yeah, let's throw it on, bro.
Play it real quick. Play it real quick. I'm on a
Yeah.
time limit. It's called my
Right.
battery.
Let me unmute this.
We're no strangers to love.
Silly goofy.
Orange is like,
Never did this.
This is so beautiful.
Crazy.
For real though?
It's so good. I like it so
we're
much.
watching it. Oh, don't pay it.
I mean, for your month.
Darkling, I'm concerned about your homepage, but other than that, this is great.
Subs.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
The
mixed.
first
was-
animatic
this-
I'd ever done.
Wow.
That would be
so
ever
good.
so feral if the alternate, what's the other swap pick ended up like that. That'd be ever so silly goofy.
I was
Oh.
thinking about that.
Exactly!
That would be fun.
It would be, because I was ever so interested in that.
So interesting, actually.
Anyways.
Oh, it would be such
Next-
a shame if I did that in Army Dreamers.
Such
What?
a
It's a
shame,
shame that
guys.
you hate us so much.
Such a shame.
It would
Literally
be a
to Army Dreamers. Goodness.
What a
Oh,
waste
crab apple.
Flash
time.
reference.
Wow, the wind's really loud. Anyways, chapter 42, guys.
Yeah, another one. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh shit, I'm reading this one. My bad.
You
Yeah.
are.
Oh wow, this is a long one.
Oh,
Oh,
Get
no.
dear.
Robin,
Get your water ready.
Get your water
Oh no, I
shot.
don't have
Chug.
water. You forced your spine into a
Manifest.
long stretch.
Sorry.
Stop me.
Hold on, let me readjust. Let me lock in. Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. I hope my audio's good. If not, L.
Your audio's all right.
Okay. You forced your spine into a long stretch, silently yawning as you padded down the hall. You had a cute Nash's shirt and a pair of bell-bottom jeans tossed over your arm as you slipped into the bathroom, locking the door behind you. Locking the door behind you, you dumped your clothes onto the counter before slipping out of your hoodie and sweats. You looked in the mirror, humming softly as you checked your bones for any damage, making sure your pelvis crack wasn't flaring, and checking the scar on your wrist before simply looking at your body, or more accurately, what was left of it, in the reflection. You liked being a skeleton for the most part. You didn't stink when you sweat. You didn't have to worry about your hair tangling or catching on anything. You don't have to worry about sunburn, and you didn't have to deal with body dysmorphia anymore. Maybe a little body horror, but you'd take that any day. You smiled, gently running your fingers up and down your spine, registering the texture before letting your hand drop. Your void slipped off your skull to rest on the mirror beside your reflection. You have a soft laugh, slightly pinching at the edges of your hip bones before gently rubbing at your ribcage. It was grounding, mapping out the sensations. You're here. You're alive again. You can feel. You're you, despite everything. With a sigh, you rubbed your face, turning on the hot water and letting your tail swing loosely behind you. You waited a minute for the water to warm before stepping under the shower spray. It felt incredible on your ribs, and you found yourself simply standing there, basking in the warmth for a moment. You took a deep breath before using your tail to nab the soap bottle and squeezing some of the content onto a soft washcloth. You took your time, gently scrubbing and mapping sensations, affirming that it was you and you were here. You were alive. You had a bad feeling. Edge hummed softly, scooping up the small spray and holding her firmly to his chest. She was heavily malnourished and looked kind of dead, but she was still kicking and probably the sweetest cat Edge had ever dealt with. It was nearing the end of their shifts. Sarah was sat at the counter filling out paperwork for the kitten while Edge placed her inside a kennel. She'd need to stay in the clinic for a while before they brought her to a rescue center. He gently petted her head, pouting.
I wish I could take you home, dear, but I'm afraid I've just gotten a cat, and my reputation is already in shambles.
She licked his fingers and he pouted harder.
You're not making this easy on me.
Sarah laughed softly, adjusting her glasses after the chain got caught in her red feather earring. You know you want her.
Yippee.
Ed shook his head.
I don't know what that is.
I really can't. If one of my roommates took her in, it would be fine. But I can't bring home every cat we rescue. I'd be the crazy cat skeleton.
He sent a half-hearted glare, still pouting.
Do I look like a crazy cat skeleton?
Sarah snickered. A bit. At his appalled expression, she laughed fully. I'm kidding! You're so dramatic. You remind me of... Edge watched her smile falter a little.
Also,
He turned to his locker,
there's a
going to
point
pick
at
up his
night
lunch
where,
to give her an
Ed
out from the
gets uncomfortable,
conversation when he realized
and
it wasn't there.
Just
Shit.
yeah.
Damn Apollo
Every
and Diddy
night
for being
she made sure
attractive
she
and making him
talked to
forget
her.
shit. He sighed softly.
I forgot my lunch.
Sarah paused. That's unlike you. He laughed softly.
I was distracted this morning.
She raised a brow. So that's why you're in a turtleneck. He sputtered.
What? No!
She laughed, ducking under the table to pick up a pen that had rolled off. If you say so. They make solid white foundation, by the way. You should invest in summertime. You're not going to be able to get away with a scarf or turtleneck then. Edge bluffed and scoffed, but set a mental reminder to look into that. Apollo in particular was a menace.
Whatever.
Sarah came up from under the table. Are you going to call your brother to bring you lunch? You really should eat. Ed groaned.
I forgot to make it, and I don't trust him to make it, or to pick me up anything, and the other cooks in the house are already at work. Besides, my shift's almost over.
Sarah shrugged. You can leave to pick it up if you need, dude. She frowned after a moment. Yeah, it's the end of your shift in an hour, and you've worked over 10 hours already, and if you forgot your lunch, I bet you didn't eat breakfast either. He faltered.
Let's make sure there are no emergency entries first. It's just the two of us working here, remember? I don't want to leave you alone if there's a sudden surgery.
Sarah shook her head lightly. You're paranoid. Why don't you ask one of the others to pick you up something on their break? He blinked. Oh, yeah, Helvetica only worked 15 minutes away and had a mandated hour break.
I could ask. One moment, please.
He stepped into the bathroom for privacy, leaning against the door and dialing bed. He answered on the first ring, of course. Edge, do you need something? Edge grimaced.
I forgot to make myself lunch this morning, and I had to skip my lunch break for an emergency. My boss is an absolute mother, and she's worried about me working a 12-hour shift without a meal.
Have you seriously not eaten today? He blushed, coughing lightly.
No.
Stars, Edge, I can pick you up something from that juice place. I think Blue and Papyrus go there often. Juice bar? Edge smiled softly.
It's Main Squeeze now. The name changed. That would be great if you're not busy.
Helvetica scoffed. It's what, 9? I've already gotten off of work. I'm not busy. I'll be there in 20. Take me your order. Oh. He forgot that got off at 8:30.
Thank you.
Helvetica sighed softly, but there didn't seem to be any ill feelings behind it. Of course. The line disconnected and Edge stretched slightly before leaving the bathroom. He waved his phone at Sarah, getting her attention quickly.
He's on his way.
She smiled. Good. Ed rolled his eyes and sat next to her, typing at his order quickly since he didn't know how close that was to the store. After he sent it, he checked on the kitten again. He couldn't really tell what breed she was, but he could tell she was rough. He snickered softly.
Little taxidermy.
Sarah laughed. Little rigor mortis. Edge was still looking at the kitten, and he missed how her expression shifted to bittersweet.
What breed do you think she is?
She blinked. I'm thinking Scottish fold. Her ears. He nodded a little, gently scratching her little nose bridge.
She's like a little crumpled tissue.
They playfully bullied the cat for about 15 minutes. Knowing Helvetica was almost there, Edge and Sarah decided to wait outside for him, since it didn't seem like anyone was coming inside. They chatted lightly, Sarah pointing out some constellations. She was the most confident about the Orion constellation, which Edge attributed to the belt being an obvious indicator, but softened a little when she let it slip that it was her lost friend's favorite. He hoped that her friend was alright for her sake, and if not, that they were watching from the stars. He figured Sarah deserved the company. It didn't take long for Helvetica's Jeep Wrangler to appear down the street. Edge smiled wryly, a little embarrassed, but he liked Vet fine. Vet was smoothly turning into the parking space when the large silver truck behind sped up. It was a blink's difference. The Jeep, a quarter way into the driveway, then spun across the parking lot as the truck nailed the entire back half of the Jeep and the passenger side. The road was clear a moment later, the silver Ford F-150 pushing 90 in the 35 down the street. Ed didn't even register he was moving until he was tearing the driver's side door open, but he was there and checking Helvetica for inventory. His sockets were wide, his eyelids reduced to pinpricks, staring at his steering wheel. Edge reached over him, clicking Vet's seatbelt off before grabbing his shoulders to steady him.
Vet?
Helvetica blinked, searching Edge's face. Edge, what happened?
The truck he fucking sideswiped you and ran.
Helvetica shivered a little. The silver truck? What? Edge nodded.
Come on, we can talk about it later. We need to get you out of the Jeep.
Helvetica nodded firmly, swinging his legs over to hop out before pausing, turning back to his glove box and pulling out a chicken wrap from Main Sweets. Your lunch? Edge laughed because what the fuck?
Vet, I swear to you, that lunch is the least of my worries at the moment.
Holy shit! Edge and Helvetica blinked, turning to Sarah. She stood up with her jaw dropped in the front of the clinic's door. Are you okay? Edge nudged Vet to get out of the Jeep, which he did with no complaint.
This is my boss, Sarah.
Vet nodded to her. A pleasure to meet you. I apologize for any inconvenience. She sputtered. What? Edge turned back to Vet, holding his shoulders.
Does anything hurt?
Helvetica blinked. No, I'm fine. Sarah grimaced, staring at Helvetica. Edge? He turned to her.
Yes?
He's gonna pass out. Helvetica furrowed his brow. I feel fine. But Edge thoroughly trusted Sarah on anything medical, turning to Helvetica and rechecking for injuries. The Jeep was totaled, he could tell, even if the airbags didn't go off, which was strange. They definitely should have gone off. Vet's eyelights were a little hazy, and Edge found himself with one hand on Vet's shoulder and the other stabilizing his neck.
Vet?
His lights went hazy again. I feel fine. Then rolled up before going out just as his body went limp. Edge wouldn't have been able to catch him so fast if Sarah hadn't warned him. Scooping Vet up, oddly similar to the kitten from earlier, he sat him in the back of Edge's car. Sarah was shaking. He walked to her and pulled her into a hug.
He'll be okay. There are no injuries I could see, but we have a healer at home. Call your girlfriend and go home. I'll close.
She shoved him. What? No, I'm closing. Take him home. Edge blinked and walked past her.
I'm taking the damn cat.
What? Poor Sarah, bro.
I love the peacefulness of Helvetica.
He's like, I'm A-okay, bro.
I'm so
good.
fine, guys.
I'm
I need to find the
I feel
voice.
great.
I'm actively trying to find the voice I didn't realize
how I didn't realize how similar this was to what happened to me.
You're one of the two
In a parking lot and everything. I did.
Hold up, wait, give me 5 seconds. Scream. Okay.
Luna said pause
Okay.
for us.
I have the voice.
Oh wait, no, because Malvery is showing up.
I had the voice. I have to find the voice. Give me.
Okay.
We're good. We're
You
good.
go ahead. Sarah had called the human police and watched Vet while Edge had put... Motherfucker. Sarah had called the human police and watched Vet while Edge put the kitten in the carrier, bringing her to the car and placing her in the head passenger seat. The cops arrived shortly after, taking statements. They were very reluctant to not bring Vet to a hospital, but Edge reassured them that their 3 trained monster doctors were a better match, and that Vet was physically fine.
You don't get anything. Get
Oh,
out,
you shut
no.
the
Luna,
fuck
can you
up.
mute? He waved Sarah by after setting Helvetica upright in the middle backseat, strapping him in with a seatbelt. Edge slipped into the driver's seat, staring silently at the road in front of him. He took a deep breath, avoiding the sight of Edge's crushed truck. Fuck. That was close. That was too fucking close. He took another deep breath and plugged his phone into the car, letting CarPlay sync before calling out a...
Hey Siri, call Malvery.
This conversation would be interesting.
Foggy, shut the fuck
Mallory
up.
laughed, shoving Red's shoulder with his foot as he spread across the couch.
No. Foggy, shut up. I need other voices not to be here. No, I'm the best.
Red rolled his lights.
Sure, kid. I'm very certain.
Mallory pouted, but definitely couldn't deny that Red just whipped his tailbone in Mario Kart.
Fine. Puppet combo attack. Or combo game. Your pick right now. Whoever jumps the first loses. Die.
Red shook his head.
I've played them all. Little Nightmares 2. Whoever gets furthest into the run without dying wins.
Aubrey grinned.
Deal.
We have very.
Foggy, shut the
Red
fuck
was
up.
mid-
please.
Told restless things about that.
Red was mid-booting the game up when Classic collapsed into the other couch. He raised a brow and Classic groaned lightly.
No.
Circling.
Foggy!
Machine's overheating like fucking crazy.
I'm in the
Must
middle reading.
plug
Almost
something
done.
in the wrong outlet. I had to shut the power in the room to cool it before I can try to fix it.
When you guys
Red
get a
finished
chance,
loading the
it'd be
game
great.
and sat back onto the
I
couch,
need-
shoving Mallory's legs out of the
Like,
way and ignoring the
I
protest he
dinner
got
all
from
by
the younger
myself,
skeleton
but
for
I
it.
really need
Okay.
some help getting the dishes
Did you burn yourself?
We got it.
Classic shrug.
So as soon as you get a break,
Little singe never hurt nobody.
Yes. Also, Malia,
Red
why are you
narrowed his
muted?
eye sockets.
Foggy,
You have
why are
1
muted?
HP,
Lower your
dumbass.
volume.
Eat a monster candy before your bro goes crazy.
We'll take
Classic
a
chuckle
break in the
softly.
middle of this.
I already
You
did.
get her to be
Chill.
quiet, please.
right now,
He leaned his
it's
arm
ready at
on the arm
6
of the couch, resting his cheek on the heel of his
Lower
palm
your
while looking at
volume.
the TV.
What are you guys playing?
Foggy!
Red grinned.
Little Nightmares is a horror game, but not all that bad. Really well made.
Classic nodded a little.
Cool. You guys mind if I watch? I need a break.
Red chuckled softly.
Go ahead. You get to see how hard I wipe the floor with Mal.
Malfoy shoved him again. Malfoy had just died to the bag-headed man when the phone rang. He groaned, but picked it up.
Hey.
Malvery, where are you?
Mallory paused, glancing around the room. Red raised a brow, but he could only shrug. Classic sat up a little.
I'm in the living room?
He heard Edge sigh softly.
Are you alone?
I love Emmy so much. She just
Mallory frowned.
Shut up, voices.
someone who she can call her friend.
No,
She's gonna be
me-
so different.
I'm with the Reading Classic.
Perfect. The moment I hang up, someone get in contact with the skeletons at the cabin.
Oh my
Jupiter
goodness.
is needed.
Mallory sat up,
Foggy.
searching for a vet in their soul
Lower
barn
your
and finding him
volume.
asleep.
One.
Edge, what the hell is going on?
Helvetica was T-boned in front of my work a few minutes ago. His Jeep is damaged, but Helvetica doesn't have any visible injuries.
Mallory's soul dropped, his mouth going dry.
A car accident?
Not an accident, intentional.
Mallory stared into space for a moment, not responding to anyone's calls until Red gently took the phone from him.
Bro?
Fred?
He gently pushed Mallory to lean against the couch.
What the hell did you tell him? Is Tiny alright?
Helvetica was in a car wreck. He's fine, but you should still get Jupiter to check on him. His Jeep is at the clinic. I'm driving him home now. I'll be back in 10 to 20 minutes.
Red blinked.
Holy shit, okay. Anything else?
We have another cat.
Very important.
The cat is a cat dad. Also, the voices are going to get shot if they don't look. Like, genuinely. I'm gonna...
I don't think we have any more lines for a
Come
bit.
on.
You should be fine.
No, it's the
Helvetica
fact that
will-
when I mute in Discord, it doesn't mute my mic on stream. So when we go back, all of Foggy is going to be on the video and on the stream.
Oh no.
That's the issue with me streaming it. I'm gonna.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I see.
That's
That's
the issue.
hilarious.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Helvetica
go.
woke up about 2 minutes from home, stirring silently and squinting at the bright road lights until his head stopped spinning. What? Edge glanced at him in the rearview mirror.
But
He blinked hazily. What happened? Edge frowned.
you were hit by a car. We're almost home.
Helvetica slowly forced himself to sit straight. I feel fine. Edge nodded firmly.
Good. Your brother is worried. You will let Jupiter, and Blue or Pyrus, whoever's up, I suppose, check you and heal any injury, then you will sleep. I've already called Queen Toriel to notify her of the accident. You're not getting out of this.
Helvetica blinked before slumping into the seat.
Childhood wins for many different children.
Edge raised a brow, meeting his eyes to the rear view.
Okay.
Helvetica nodded. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Blue raced home, taking empty back roads and tearing across them to save time. Hearing Helvetica was in a car crash was fucking terrifying. He knew Edge wouldn't lie about Helvetica's state. He was raised from a universe far too rough for sugar coatings and curved words, but he was still concerned. He took deep breaths as his bike sped down each empty road, well aware of the blue lights. Were leaving a trail behind. There we go. Well aware the blue lights were leaving a trail behind him. He didn't go the speed limit until he had to take a main road and was immediately stuck in traffic due to another wreck. Blue groaned as he sat behind a large silver truck, tapping his head and helmet against its handles. The truck sped off through the shoulder not 2 minutes after Blue got stuck behind him. He shrugged and started lane splitting to get home a little faster as Shake a Slice blasted through his helmet.
Foggy.
Edge held the cat carrier in his free hand, using his dominant to make sure he was steady, make sure Helvetica was steady. There was no way the small skeleton would let Edge carry him, and he could walk fine. Vet stretched his spine a little, attempting to rub the soreness from his neck as they walked into the house from inside the garage. The moment he crossed the threshold, he was grabbed and pulled face first into warm fluff. Sputtering, but unwilling to pull away from his brother, he rose to his toes and angled his head up. Dr. Seuss. And angled his head up to get the fox fur from Albert's foot out of his nose. He felt the fear in their soul bond since the moment he woke up, so even if Helvetica wasn't big on showing affection around people, he'd let it slide here. He totally didn't absolutely need it right now or anything. Maverick hugged Vet close, bending his knees and leaning forward to compensate for Vet's height. He felt Vet shift his head, then his fingers digging into the back of his hoodie, burrowing into the soft fur that made up the hood. He huffed softly with relief, hugging Vet tighter. Helvetica had been sending comforting waves to the bond once he woke up, but it was so different than having him in Maverick's arms. That was alright. Shaken and a little sore, maybe, but alive and uninjured all the same. Thank stars. Vet mumbled, "I'm sorry," into the side of his skull, and Maverick hugged him hard enough to make his ribs ache a little. Maverick clenched his jaw.
Do not apologize, Sans.
Keo frowned behind them, not wanting to interrupt, but concerned about Vet's well-being. Mars placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, and they appeared to have a full conversation with a few seconds of eye contact before Jupiter rolled his eyes and stepped forward.
Helvetica?
Vet's eyelight came back into focus, locking onto Jupiter. Yes? Maverick's grip got visibly tighter for a moment before he let Vet go and nudged him towards Jupiter. He walked closer, gently nudging Vet to sit on the couch.
I think.
Can I check you?
I have 2 questions. Do I
Helvetica nodded a little.
Sebastian as well?
Of course, thank you. Jupiter shook his head.
No need.
My little buddy.
Your
My
family.
friend. My little.
Helvetica's eyelids went a little
Yeah,
fuzzy,
you
and he
forgot
kept his
about
mouth
him.
firmly shut as Jupiter...
I realized that.
Sorry.
I keep hearing the dog in the background. I don't know whose dog that
It's
is, but
not
too
mine.
loud.
But the only dog
you hear
I
a
see
dog?
is going to get chucked.
I hear
Foggy.
a dog every 3 seconds.
But she didn't.
I'm
Is it
going
me?
to
I
throw
don't know.
hands,
It's
Foggy.
me, Jess.
I have rubber bands. Hold up.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
I have a long distance weapon, Foggy. That is not what I thought I had in my hand. Okay. Well, I have a piece of metal. Let's go. Foggy, I'm going to jump you. Let's go.
Like lived in that lake for a long time.
Subs.
Used to be like some sort of
She's
ship
like
can or
me.
something, and died at sea. And
Helvetica's
escaped in
lights went a little fuzzy, and he kept his mouth firmly shut as Jupiter checked him over, feeling small
Foggy!
scrapes and bruises and checking at the disc in
You
his
are
spine.
picking
to
up
his lip.
louder than me.
got attached, and now is following her. So he's very quiet.
Oh my
and doesn't
gosh.
talk typically too much. So
I need to be shot.
Well, you got lucky. Granted, I didn't see the crash, but from what I'd heard,
yeah, I can afford it.
you were very lucky, Vet. I do hope you're pursuing legal action, considering they could have killed you.
Yeah, I'll put it in my MD.
Foggy!
Helvetica tensed. It was a hit and run,
You keep
but I think the
pick-
truck was following you
quiet.
for a
I
while.
texted you.
Jupiter patted his shoulder.
It's not a tonight problem. Get some rest. Have you eaten?
When Vet confirmed he'd ate, Jupiter was about to shoo him to bed before Blue burst into the room.
Vet?
Like he's kind of like.
Helvetica barely got the chance to meekly wave before Blue was tackling him in a hug.
You're okay, right? You took your Jeep?
Helvetica nodded, and Blue immediately sighed in relief, tapping a kiss to Vet's forehead.
Good, good. Thank the stars.
Vet blushed, firmly looking away from the others. I'm perfectly fine, Blue. Jupiter already checked me over. Blue hugged him tightly before letting go.
He does not really typically
Okay.
like to intervene things.
Go to bed. Are you sure you're okay?
He will interact with the party
Helvetica nodded
and-
a little so Blue relaxed,
and I
letting
feel like
Malvery drag his
every
brother
time
into his
it's
room.
name.
They're gay, Your Honor.
Like,
I'm sorry, I kept imagining
You're
Pierre
good.
doing the Deku voice, and it
Stop. That's crazy.
For like, because like for 1 second of that, it sounded like Deku, and then I could not get it out of my head. You blinked at Blue.
Sobs.
I mean, like, I don't know how
You okay?
this timeline works, but when it was like nearly immediately
Blue nodded.
she got into
Very worried. But he's not injured.
this world, she met him and
You
was
couldn't
really
help but
attached.
smile.
So she didn't understand
You two are
how it
cute.
works, and she fell into a
Classic
river,
snorted
thinking
softly.
that it was like some
Narcissism.
and just running into it.
You, Mars, and Blue laughed, but Red and Edge were too busy chatting over the
So she's been
most
here
interesting
since
cat you'd ever seen. It was adorable in the poorly executed taxidermy sort of way. You guys have 2 cats now, yes. You nudge Blue lightly.
I'm definitely to drive.
Blue snorted.
I made a
What?
display of stuff.
Did,
I mean, did you guys get any of that? Because on my end, it's just like
No, I mean, like, Gina was in the washer machine, the washing machine. But I
Say the line again real quick. Say the line
It
again
sounded
real
like
quick.
you were across the room.
He's just
Under
Right next to my mic. What's happening? Let
I
me.
think you
Okay,
also
do it
need
again. Do it again.
Sobs.
Okay,
We need
shut
the
up.
mics, guys. Invest in.
No. Wait. I'm
Stop.
never learning to drive.
Blue snorted.
You will.
Foggy, shut
I
up.
learned early for New York.
Oh yeah,
You blinked.
I did see that.
Oh shoot! I think process. I just didn't realize me. Hold on. There we go. New York.
Yeah.
Blue grinned.
If she ever needs like a
New
really
York.
scary beef, she
It's where
will
me and
use
Stretch
that,
chose
but,
for our
like,
trip.
apparently, she
You answer Mars.
I'm gonna throw
she
your
doesn't.
hands.
She hasn't had
Trip.
to do it.
Mars blush.
Oh, oops.
Like, man,
Every
I
universe
feel like
gets to
he's
go on a trip
extremely
anywhere.
around
Me and
and,
Jupiter
like,
picked
he
Niagara
is-
Falls.
He can like actually die.
You pause and grin.
Foggy. Actually, die.
Cool.
Like,
Can I go to? Hold on.
I don't
What's the
Abbeville.
correct? Okay.
Abbeville.
Abbeville. I didn't expect that. Cool. Can I go to
Mars
Abbeville?
shrugged.
Imaginary friend?
I
Mars
said
shrugged.
anywhere,
Okay, he's
didn't
not
I?
imaginary.
Classic chuckled.
Abbeville's only 40 minutes away or so. You don't need to use your trip for that. What do you want to do there?
You shrugged.
Yeah.
Fish.
I feel like,
Classic blinked.
Like, on a
I
boat?
feel like he can just
You
be
nodded.
physical most times.
I can drive a
I
boat.
feel like whenever he's
Blue
soft enough
laughed.
or physical and if they just
You
go
won't drive a
hand in hand.
car?
You snorted.
But like, I feel like
Look, I played this finishing.
Fishing. Give me a break. Oh, before I finish myself.
Look, I played this fishing game ages ago and it looked fun.
that's his character sheet. I believe.
Classic shrugged.
I don't have a problem with it. Just you and Apollo.
That's his character sheet.
You nodded.
If you'll come with.
Mars nudged you.
I have a boating license. I'm sure you can pass for me.
You laughed.
I actually probably could if I was determined enough.
Mars tilted his head.
Determined enough?
You blinked, then forced determination to the surface. You were determined to show him something. Your eyelight went red.
See?
Everyone still in the room stared at you.
What?
Oh.
That is the most beautiful
Look at the
fan art ever.
cute-
Sobbing.
But-
Wait, my mic is still off. Sobbing. I didn't know there was art in this chapter. Did I just not see this?
You didn't read the
Yeah, there's
chapter?
art.
That's crazy.
No,
Imagine
no,
not
no, no.
reading
It's
it.
been a hot
That's
minute. I forgot about this.
I
They're so
actually
cute.
added this after
I knew
posting
it.
the chapter. Like I went back.
Sobbing.
insane.
This I did
Yes.
post this on the
Sobbing.
server though.
I know that you
It's
probably
been
have
so long.
They're so cute.
Singing in the stupid
I guess the chapter wasn't as long as I thought just because there was a lot of dialogue, so you weren't reading like the whole time.
Yeah.
It's been so
Question is,
long.
oh wait, can I read
I
this
have
one
to
too?
pause and go
Sure.
And then
do
you read the next one. Okay,
dishes.
I forgot it was
So
43,
I'll be
not
back
44.
soon. Someone take my rolls.
Then,
Wait, what is this chapter? Am I? Let me look through this real fast. Gosh darn it! The first entire. I will wait
A
for the
lot of-
entire bit, then I will disappear. I'll wait for the Malvery bit, and then I'll.
Yeah,
Froggy,
it's
shut
not
up.
a lot of you after that first.
Yeah.
I'm just
There's
kind
a
of
Apollo
skimming
now.
through.
Oh, I
right.
have to go do dishes.
There's a lot
I
of
can-
Apollo.
I have
can
a
go
backup
for
voice.
Apollo then.
Well, not my problem. We have Alexis.
Definitely gonna be
Yeah, that's
Here is
I'm
backup.
here to be a not the frick absent father. Ha ha ha.
Yay,
Oh.
absent fathers.
Yay!
Yeah, but don't tell me of his job.
I'm also
Alas.
playing
I'll be an
Undertale at this
absent
moment,
mother
so
instead.
Absent mothers.
We ready? We ready so that
Yep.
Yeah.
Luna doesn't have to
Let's
watch the
go.
dishes? There we go.
Yep.
Helvetica woke
go,
up to
go.
being nearly. Helvetica woke up to be nearly smothered by his brother, who was laying fully on top of him. He huffed and tilted his head away for air. Is this truly necessary? Malvery groaned, lightly swatting his
I
brother.
feel like currently she does
Shut
Rust,
up.
Chrome and Alex the best.
That rolled his eyes and shoved the bigger
Foggy,
shells
shut
into his
up
side.
for 5
pointing at the-
minutes. Sorry, I'm
forcing
about to do a big
Malvery's
piece
chest.
and I'm
Never.
leaving.
Malvery glared at him from where he flopped into the pile of blankets, but it softened after a moment.
Luna, I just have one more minute. But practically, I feel like,
You okay?
probably will. Next time
think
she
I-
probably
That
will.
pause before leaning down to rest
Or,
on
like,
Mal's
even if
head.
we forced out somehow,
He pressed a hand
she's
on
gonna
Mal's head.
jump in if anything happens to Emmy.
I'm just fine, Papyrus. That Jeep meant nothing to me compared to you, and I'm not even
Friendly. Wait,
injured.
was I
Everything's
Maybe
alright.
roll a perception
I'm
or
not.
something,
Mal
but
blinked
she
and found
really
himself
just
forcing
sit
back
around
tears.
to talk to him every night.
Okay.
So, like, that's
Vet
why
laid next to
I feel
him,
like
staring
it's
at the
like
ceiling.
Foggy.
Okay.
So, like, maybe we'll next time
Malvery
roll
nodded, resting
die,
his hand
a
on his
perception
shoulder.
check or something, like a passive perception. And
Yeah.
if they notice I left.
He reached
Okay.
blindly behind him for the remote to the TV.
Wanna watch a movie?
Vet smiled softly. Kiko said I'd like White House Down? Malvery grinned and immediately moving to Netflix and maneuvering to the search section.
I'm down.
So I just
Malvery kept Vet in bed for the next 3 hours watching
probably next
Netflix.
session if it comes up.
Then even more, because Malvery wanted to binge watch the live-action Percy Jackson. And how could Vet say no?
If you understand what I mean, it's probably gonna be like
Okay,
at
combustion.
the end of the next
Shoot
session.
Foggy for me later, guys.
Like, I just, like,
Yep.
she'll probably, like, yeah,
Mars
yeah,
blinked
so-
at you before shrugging.
Yeah, did your little void creature you could pass for me easily.
Classic glanced to Red.
Hey kid, how did you do that?
He smiled a little.
I was injected with determination, so I have a lot of it. I actually didn't know I could turn my eye red until Grilby mentioned it offhandedly, thinking I knew. I was very confused, but that's alright.
Caught yourself rambling.
Anyway, instead of melting, my magic just turns red when I'm too determined. It's cool.
It's totally not because you used to be human or anything. You were actually so bad at keeping secrets. Red gapes silently. Red gapes silently.
Thanks. Like that one a lot.
Sobby.
You're not supposed to be able to do that, kid.
You shrugged. I heard none of that.
Give me a second.
Again.
I'm built different.
You blinked as you realized you were a lab rat, snickering softly.
Literally.
Classic cleared his throat a little.
Okay then.
You grinned.
Sorry.
Classic waved you off slightly, just as your brother walked into the room. He raised a brow at you, gesturing loosely to your face. If Luna's not here, I can take over, Apollo.
Oh wait, hold on. It was me. My bad. Sorry, I said I'd cover.
Oh.
And which language? I'm playing
Right here.
Undertale. Oh, okay. And you've changed colors in the 6 hours since I last saw you.
You laughed, letting the feeling of determination fade, blinking rapidly to aid your eyes' translation back to light. Apollo patted your back slightly.
And there's a party downstairs? Why?
You grimaced.
The vet was in a car accident.
Ed scoffed from his crouched position, still running a small breath through the cat's fur.
Anything but that bastard meant to hit him.
Apollo frowned.
Is he okay?
You nodded a little.
He's resting. Mal's with him.
Apollo lightly squeezed your shoulder, no doubt imagining the wreck happening to you, judging by the anxiety-ridden waves that sparked through your bond.
That's good as it gets in this situation.
You frowned, searching for an angle to change the subject.
Hey, do you want to go fishing with me?
Apollo paused, blinking and letting his lights flick down to you.
Fishing?
You smiled.
Yeah, seemed fun.
He hesitated and glanced at your chest. No, your soul.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
You softened.
It'll be perfectly safe, Paps. I can drive a boat. We just go down Vermilion River. There's a dock in Abbeville that I've heard is pretty good.
Rudd raised a brow.
Where'd you hear all that?
You smiled.
Online. Googled some good spots.
Red nodded once and you leaned to Apollo's side.
Oh wait, that's me. Hold on. What'd he say?
You gave him your biggest grin and your most valiant attempt at puppy eyes, which clearly failed by the sound of your brother's laugh, but he nodded, so score.
Fine, go to bed.
You gave him your best captain salute before grabbing Mars and Jupiter and teleporting back to the cabin. Red blinked, gesturing to the space Kigo used to be.
Are we just not going to talk about his magic changing color?
Classic shrugged after a moment's pause.
I'm genuinely too tired to care.
Red stared at him for a moment before nodding.
Fair enough, actually. Movie?
Classic grinned, flopping back on the couch.
Deal. Dibs on first pick.
Red groaned but tossed him the remote anyway. Edge rolled his eyes and took the kitten upstairs for a bath. Halfway through Jumanji, Classic turned to Red.
Hey, Vet's probably going to take my car for work. Would you take the kids to the dock whenever you're free?
Red nodded a little, still very focused on the river hippo scene on screen.
Sure. I like driving anyway.
Something under their feet began to buzz angrily, but they didn't notice, nor did they notice the lights flickering just out of sight. Your next week was spent gaining excitement and anxiety for the trip. You struggled with knowing your feelings were paranoia and which were real gut feelings, so you ignored it all. You weren't going to let some nausea ruin this for you, no sir. Why did that feel familiar? What? You hesitantly stepped away from your easel, taking a seat at your desk as the world spun for a moment. Your soul hurt and your skull ached for a moment before it slowly passed and you were able to work on your painting again. It was of Toriel, surrounded by purple and yellow flowers on her royal regalia. She was sitting daintily on a throne, but the backdrop was the purple walls of the ruins. You were very proud of the painting and finished it fast as hell with how excited you were for your first royal commission. You took a deep breath to ward off the vertigo and picked up the paint marker with a shade lighter than the background to sign in the bottom right corner. You're about to step away when you got the constricting, wrong feeling of forgetting something. Oh yeah! You smiled and doodled a little crown over the K in Kigo. Your signature was pretty short and small since you didn't have a last name, or really since you didn't want to use it, but the little crown balanced it out well. You grinned at the finished details after adding in some You grinned at the finished product after inishing in from finishing details. Then finished details. Then final details. Stop touching it, damn it. You signed and silently picked up all of your supplies, placing them in your own not-so-neat chaos order that made sense to you singularly. You searched behind your bed for the ornate frame you were meant to prop it into, dragging it out and laying it on your bed before taking the painting to carefully setting it aside, making sure everything lined up and looked good. Okay, you're done. Holy shit, you just painted for a fucking queen. You're so cool, Kigo. You picked up the painting easily, slipping it under your arm and keeping a firm grip on the wire on the back before teleporting to the mansion. When your vision spun, you realized why you were so damn dizzy. You forgot to eat, dumbass. You groaned and gently placed the painting next to the TV. You jumped when a hand landed on your shoulder, whipping around to see who was behind you, only to grin when you saw less than Helvetica standing there, staring at the portrait. Helvetica gently patted your shoulder. Kigo, you completely outdone yourself. The queen will be very pleased. You blushed badly.
Thank you.
He smiled and patted you again. I will drop this off to the queen in a little while. I don't have to work today. You blinked.
You have a car?
He was moving like, wait, you have a car? He blushed furiously. Well, no, I'm borrowing classics at the moment. You felt a little bad not having meant to call him out.
Oh, that makes sense.
He nodded firmly, and Lust wrapped and Lust wrapped his arms around you, squeezing you for a moment before letting go.
Haha, perfect.
Well,
Just
thank
in
God.
time.
Oh, man.
Perfect, because Lust
Doing this,
is...
bro.
Literally on screen.
Hold up. Okay, it's unmuted on stream now.
Awesome.
This is really gorgeous, Kate. I'm really glad you're doing what you want.
You couldn't help but blush again.
Yeah.
You go brush Chronicles of
Okay, now disappear. Goodbye.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. This universe is great.
Lush. Oh my god. Lust and Vet both nodded, but the chill in your back put you on edge. It felt like the universe was laughing at you. Why did that seem familiar? Edge passed the living room on his way to work, pressing a kiss to Desi's cheek, then Apollo's as he made to leave. Desi gasped and dragged Apollo away. Holy shit, this is incredible! Edge blinked, walking over to see what they were looking at before finding himself speechless for a moment. It was a damn good painting of the queen. He nodded once.
Who painted this?
Apollo lit up, nudging him gently.
My brother, he's always been incredible at it. I never understood, but I'm so glad he got something to do now.
Edge hummed softly, light skimming the large portrait, the dainty flowers, the carefully committed texture of the queen's fur, her soft yet piercing eyes before landing in the bottom right corner. Same handwriting. Edge's brow furrowed. What the hell? Classic plopped on the couch, staring at the painting for a second before glancing over to Kigo, who was still talking to Helvetica and Les near it. He cleared his throat lightly.
Hey, kid.
Kigo immediately perked up, glancing over and offering a smile. Classic paused, and for a moment, Kigo looked so young. But it passed, and he cleared his throat to tell the kid what he needed to.
Red said he would give you two a ride to that dock in Abbeville. They have boats there that you can rent.
Kigo lit up.
Wait, really? When?
Red stepped out from the basin, snickering.
In an hour. Get ready. I'll text Edge to tell your brother.
He grinned and nodded quickly before teleporting out of the room, presumably back to the cabin to change. Red smiled a little.
He's a good kid.
Classic nodded a little, but hesitated to confess.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Red's brow furrowed.
Really? I'm just happy the kid wants to go outside. It's their first month on the surface.
Classic looked away.
That's not what I meant. Just an off feeling.
Red stiffened, staring unwaveringly at Classic.
Like you're forgetting something?
I said sniffing, sorry.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Would.
Would.
What do you want?
You gently.
Snip snort.
Not wrong word. I can't speak.
Quickly.
I'm sorry. I accidentally clicked end. I have to refine my shit. Where
I could read it.
No,
real quick.
absolutely
Leave
not.
it on.
You quickly put on your favorite turtleneck.
Absolutely not.
You and cargo pants. And cargo pants. Don't forget those. We need pants.
No, I don't give pants, sorry.
Cargo pants. Grinning wildly at your reflection.
Absolutely
Sob.
not.
Phone in your pocket.
Be quiet. Be quiet. I found it. Be quiet. You quickly put on your favorite turtleneck and cargo pants, grinning wildly at your reflection as you stuffed your phone in your pocket and popped out of your room and skipped down. Motherfucker, what is this sentence? You quickly put on your favorite turtleneck and cargo pants, grinning wildly at your reflection as you stuffed your phone in your pocket, popped out of your room, and skipped down the hallway. Mars immediately put a sandwich in your face, knowing damn well you hadn't eaten, so you relented, taking it and scarfing it down quickly. Mars snickered, nudging you lightly before handing you his fishing license. You took it before hugging him tight.
Oh, I did not register that sentence correctly. Okay. Thank you.
And teleporting back to the mansion. You hadn't looked back to see Mars's face go red or his eyelight go soft and a little soft and fuzzy. Simp. You slipped a t-shirt on, jumping his jagged jeans up to his hips. He smiled at the cute holes ripped into the faded fabric before grabbing his phone and stuffing it securely in his inventory. When he popped out of his room, Kigo was waiting there, leaning on the wall next to his door in his normal sleeveless turtleneck and cargo pants. The inky mass of his void that usually clung to Kigo's skull was nowhere to be seen. Apollo nudged him and they walked down the stairs together. Toriel was rendered completely speechless by the painting Helvetica handed her, finding herself gently tracing the details on the glass before looking to her captain.
This is beautiful.
Helvetica couldn't help the pride in his smile. Kigo is very talented, Your Highness. She smiled, nodding gently.
Very. My child, would you be willing to take another commission soon?
Vet sighed in relief. I believe he'd be elated, Your Highness. Do you have an idea of what you'd like? She nodded softly at the painting.
I'd just love a painting of my son. Would he be willing to paint Azrael?
Helvetica grinned. I don't see why not. You were so goddamn excited. You practically skipped down the stairs. You hadn't gone fishing in literal decades, haven't been on a boat for the same amount of time. You miss it so much. Apollo snickered at you, but you genuinely could not find it in you to banter. Red lightly smacked the back of your head to catch your attention when you fully passed him up, and you smiled sheepishly before following him and Apollo to the garage. Apollo leaned into the back seat, grinning.
I didn't think I've ever seen you this excited. We're fishing, brother. What exactly is so word?
Enrapturing.
Enrapturing.
You blinked.
Alright, first off, stop using big words. It's weird. You're meant to be
I
my
know.
dumb, lovable sidekick.
He snorted, protesting your statement with a hey, but that you fully ignored.
And second off, I don't know, it just sounds fun.
Apollo smiled and nuzzled your skull, which you laughed and immediately tried to squirm away from.
Whatever, nerd. As long as you're happy.
You snickered, shoving him off.
I'm very happy, thank you.
Red chuckled, keeping his eyes on the road as the two of you bickered in the back seat. You knew that. After a while, you found yourself spacing out, staring at the trees and signs that went by through the window. About halfway through the drive, you saw a large billboard, blank other than the end is near. You couldn't help but snicker at it. Spooky. Occasionally, Apollo would point out buildings and ask what they were. A flea market, an outlet mall, an arcade, etc. It was fun to see what you could remember. It didn't feel like long until you were in Abbeville, past large crawfish ponds, cane fields, and the occasional rice field. While taking a rural highway not far from the dock, Apollo pointed out a lone white building with a giant mermaid painted on the front. Large, abandoned 18-wheelers settled behind it, and you could just make out an absolute mountain of shells in the back.
What's that? Words.
You knew exactly you shrugged at first before pausing. You knew exactly what it was.
An oyster house.
Apollo blinked.
I was kidding, Kiego. How the hell do you know that? We're in the middle of nowhere.
She's holding an oyster in her hands, and there's a big banner right there that says it's selling oysters.
Apollo blushed but laughed.
Oh, I suppose you're right.
You laughed along but felt dread quickly trickling into your soul. You hadn't seen the banner at first, it was on your left. So, how the fuck did you know that? Red passed the building, and the camper in the back, and the big red Ford pickup in the driveway that you just knew smelled like cigarettes and cologne. You didn't relax for a while, especially not after realizing the little white Honda Civic you felt was supposed to be there was missing. Why did you know that? You forced your breathing to calm and stared at your hands until Red dropped the two of you off at the dock. It was pretty much dead, only one guy working at a little shop straight off to the side. He didn't even look at your license, simply tossing you the keys to a boat and some lures after you dropped him 100. Walking on the dock was fine as you approached the boat you rented. You got to pick which boat you wanted since it was only one other reservation and the group wasn't there yet. It wasn't until you were at the edge of the dock that you felt like something was wrong. You'd been a monster for years. You'd been gone for years. Why did you suddenly miss your dog? You couldn't even remember her name. You miss your mom, despite the fact that you were desperately avoiding Home Depot to stay away from her. You missed family you couldn't remember, and family you could only remember the feeling they gave you instead of names and faces and the occasional vague title. The doc made you sad. You frowned, shaking your head to clear it before hopping off the boat, desperately ignoring the concerned looks your brother was shooting you. Suddenly, you were 9 again, perched on the front of a boat in a sun hat and shorts that didn't really fit you. You took a deep breath and walked to the back of the boat, waiting for Apollo to hop on and sit down to untie the rope attached, wrapped around the dock's cleat. The boat started drifting almost immediately, and you hurried to rev the engine, tilting the motor and fiddling with the control until you were speeding off. Immediately, a grin was brought to your face. Oh, you missed this. Apollo noticed the change and offered a smile to you. You smiled back and sailed quickly down the river. When you found a decent spot, you turned the motor off and let her slowly drift. The pull of the river wasn't as strong here, so it would be fine to fish in that spot within sight of the dock. Apollo opened the bait and grabbed 2 rods you'd bought at the shack and handed it to you.
I've got no idea how this works.
You snickered.
Sit down, I'll teach you.
Apollo immediately sat next to the bait box, and you found yourself carefully showing him how to tie a lure onto his hook, and the correct way to swing a line. It took a couple of tries to get it right yourself, your memory wasn't that good, but it didn't take too long to get into the groove again. You made sure he fished on the other side of the boat than you, just to make sure your lines didn't tangle. Apollo blinked before smiling.
You seem surprisingly in your element here.
You laughed.
Not really, this just reminds me of something.
It reminded you of your dad. He wasn't the best, and he never paid your child support, but he drilled it into your head how proud he was of you, even if he wasn't around for most of your life. He used to take you fishing a bit. It was the only time he was required to pay absolute attention to you, so you were always super excited for it. Apollo hesitated.
Of being human.
You paused.
Yeah, actually.
You kind of forgot you told him. Oh, don't scare. He looked towards the dock.
You grew up here, didn't you?
You let your head tilt as you considered his question, lightly flicking your wrist to keep your line fluttering over the water.
Not so much this area. I grew up about a city or 2 over, but my dad lived around here for a while.
Apollo nodded a little.
The Oyster House. How'd you actually know?
You should have expected your brother to catch you on your bullshit. You hadn't lied, but you didn't tell him what he was actually asking before.
I used to work there.
You didn't lie, but you kept it simple. You didn't want to bring down the mood by telling Apollo just how intimately you knew that shop or the truck or the camper.
Oh,
He found out where his little buoy ended up and reeled his line to recast.
do you fish here often?
You smiled, still jerking your hook around.
Not here, no way. No way. That was rather too close. No. I realized. Okay, let me reread that. Not here now. Way further south. We had a camp on a river. Damn near in the Gulf. My first catch was a fucking stingray.
You laughed, setting your pole in the circular holder as you waited for a catch.
I've never been to this spot before. I remember the dock vaguely, but I never saw further than that.
Apollo shrugged a little.
Me neither.
It started you into a little laugh as you dug around the boat's ice chest, grabbing a bottle of water for yourself before tossing one to your brother.
No, really? You're a natural kid.
Apollo scoffed, getting a little aggravated with the lack of activity and recasting his line again. You nudged him lightly to set the rod on the holder.
It's December. We're probably not going to catch much. Just enjoy it.
Apollo blinked before sitting down next to you.
I'm kind of glad the sun's not out. I'm unaware if skeleton bones can bleach.
You cackled.
Oh shit, I hadn't even thought of that.
Apollo snickered.
Why am I not surprised?
You couldn't help but pout.
What the heck?
More snickering ensued before something tugged at Apollo's line. He leapt to his feet, taking the rod out of the holder and standing firm before turning to you.
What do I do?
Oh, the flashback. Brief glimpses of your past, catching the stingray, hooking a fish too heavy to support, and handing the rod back to your dad, constantly looking back to him for approval. But now it was you. This was your boat and your favorite person ever, your kid, asking you for help. You swallowed your emotions and gave him a calm smile, rising to your feet and steadying his arm by placing a hand on his elbow.
Turn on the line, just a little.
Apollo nodded, copying the little wrist flicks you were doing earlier.
Why?
I can't tell if it's fully hooked yet, so doing the little tugs will make the fish think the lure's alive and the fish will try to eat it. You want to make sure you get a good hook, or it'll just injure the fish and you won't catch it.
Apollo nodded, continuing to mimic your movements for a moment before the weight changed. Apollo jumped when the fish started fighting and immediately looked to you, keeping his line locked. You smiled softly.
Reel it in smaller bursts at first. If you reel it fast, you might snap the string or give the fish an opening to get off the hook. Once it's not far from the boat, you can reel it up and we can see what you got.
Apollo grinned and listened, following your instructions to the T until he brought up a big catfish. He scuttled to yours with a huge grin and you couldn't help but laugh.
Is that good?
You nodded, steadying the rod to hover over the floor of the boat and carefully unhooking the fish. And holding it very still as Apollo put the rod down and stared at you like an excited puppy, which adorable.
This is great. It's called a catfish.
Apollo laughed softly.
It doesn't look like a cat.
You grinned.
It's the whiskers. Do you want to hold it? I can take a picture of you with it and send it to the group chat.
Apollo nodded, but almost instantly hesitated.
Oh, what does it feel like?
You snickered.
A little slimy. You have to hold it very tight and be careful.
You held it firmly with one hand, effortlessly subduing its flopping and gesturing carefully to the fins on its back.
These are razor sharp.
You shook your head and cleared your throat. This is a learning experience.
My dad accidentally dropped one once and a barb went straight through his foot. He almost had to have it amputated after it got infected.
Apollo suddenly looked a lot more nervous the whole touched the fish. You giggled.
But we're skeletons, so we don't have to worry about that. As long as you're careful, you'll be fine.
Apollo looked half reluctant, but took the fish from you, grimacing at the odd feeling, before he beamed.
I did it!
Oh, your poor soul. This was so cute it hurt. You wiped your hands on a towel and grabbed your phone from one of the many pockets in your cargo pants.
You did!
The picture you snapped was painfully adorable, and you immediately sent it to the skeleton group chat. Apollo stared at the fish for a moment.
Okay, where do I put it?
You snickered and opened the ice chest, fishing all the bottles out of the water and gesturing Apollo to put the fish inside, which he did. You shut the ice chest and sat on it while Apollo frantically wiped his hands with a towel.
You.
You genuinely couldn't stop the giggles from rising from your chest. Apollo reminded you so much of your younger self, you little star. You happily watched as Apollo recast his line, snickering as it caught on a branch again. While he fought with tugging the hook off the foliage, you turned your attention to your own rod, which rattled in its holder. You walked over to it, lifting it from its holder and testing the grip of the fish it caught. It started fighting immediately, so you started reeling, jerking the rod up and back to secure the hook before reeling it the same way you taught your brother. Once it was within 2 feet of the boat, you reeled faster, leaning back to avoid the splash as the fish was ripped from the water. You turned to look at it and paused. Behind you, your brother began to snicker, then full out cackle at you. You caught another fucking stingray. The irony was not lost on you. You laughed at yourself and let Apollo take a picture of you holding it by the line before unhooking it and tossing it back into the water. Apollo giggled.
It's going to tell all its fish friends that it met God.
You elbowed him lightly, but couldn't help snickering.
Yeah, my luck's ass. Give me a break.
You cut Apollo's line after you couldn't get it from the tree and moved the boat a little further downstream. Apollo was able to catch another, though slightly smaller, catfish, while you scored a medium-sized red snapper that Apollo was endlessly intrigued by. You plopped both into the ice chest and went just around the curve of the river. The back of your boat was still in sight of the dock, and the shade of the trees was perfect. Apollo snickered at you
Emo.
and kept fishing on the other side in the sun, back turned to you.
You know, this is actually pretty fun.
You laughed.
I told you.
Apollo rolled his eyes at you over his shoulder before bringing his attention back to this pole when he caught another fish. You looked around for a good spot to cast when you noticed something floating in the water maybe 10 yards downstream. Your brow furrowed and something in your soul told you not to look closer, but your human curiosity never vanished after you died and you found yourself squinting at it. It wasn't until you noticed a shoe tangled in branches and rocks and matted hair that you realized what you were looking at. Oh, that's a body. Your anxiety spiked as you carefully pull your wad back into its holder.
Perhaps, Starlight, I need you to not turn around.
Apollo froze, and you stared at him over your shoulder to make sure he didn't look.
Why?
You grimaced.
There's something in the water, and I don't want you to see it.
You felt fear pulse through the bond, mixing achingly with your own anxiety.
Are we in danger right now?
You almost shook your head before realizing he was turned around.
No, I promise you we're perfectly safe.
You glanced at the ice chest and felt a little nauseated.
We'll probably need to dump out the fish, though.
Apollo quickly finished reeling in his current catch before unhooking it himself and tossing it back into the water.
Okay, what do you need me to do?
You took a deep breath, suddenly so glad you couldn't smell all that well.
Just stand there and don't look, alright? You're safe, I promise you. I just need to make a phone call.
Apollo nodded, but otherwise didn't move as you pulled your phone back out and dialed the magic 3 numbers. A woman picked up almost immediately. 911, what's your emergency? I was faster. You can do the next one.
So you can have Apollo back. I gotta go eat dinner.
Operator. I don't care. You cleared your throat.
I'll just take a pause.
Me and my little brother are, we're fishing at the Abbeville Dock on Vermilion, and there's a body in the river.
There's a moment of silence before...
Go on, Jay.
I thought you wanted to do it.
I'm taking Apollo because Alexis left.
Oh, okay. A body? Are you sure? You could faintly hear murmuring and typing in the background of the call. Your brother tensed in your peripheral vision.
Yes, ma'am. I can see a shoe and hair. We're about 30 feet away, so I can't see any discernible features, but that's definitely a body.
You forced down a shiver. Okay, you sound very calm. That's good. You said you're about 30 feet from the body on your boat? How far are you from the dock? You glance back at the curve.
Almost inside of it, just around the first curve to the left.
Thank you, sir. I'm sending dispatch and a search and rescue right now. You said your little brother is with you? How old are you two? You cleared your throat. Vision finding the body again.
I'm 23, he's 20.
The woman shifted. Okay, can you tell me anything about the body? Hair, clothes, shoe brand? Anything helps. You frowned.
I'm half blind and I really don't want my brother to see the body. The shoes do look like Converse, though. Either black or, very dirty pants and a hoodie.
A hoodie. A hoodie. You blinked rapidly before setting back on the hoodie. It was far, but that was your hoodie. That's the hoodie you were wearing when you drowned. You loved Converse. That was you. You just found your own fucking body. You didn't even register dropping your phone to the boat's floor. You stared blankly at your body. You didn't hear Papyrus asking if you were okay. You weren't present enough to notice him turning. Grabbing your phone and reassuring the lady you were fine before hanging up. He couldn't help the curiosity, doubt gave to him and glanced down the river. He frowned when he caught sight of what you were staring at, but he'd seen plenty of dead people. He was an angel after all. He rested a hand on your shoulder that you barely felt and asked if you were okay, leaning to your eye level. You felt yourself slipping into a panic you knew you wouldn't be able to drag yourself out of, so you used the last of your consciousness to whisper.
It's me. That's my body.
Before grabbing him and teleporting you both to the dock. Standing at the edge, everything rushed back to you. Your brother, the human one, dying, the loss of friends, pushing people away. You faintly remember helping a girl put a chain on her glasses after doing her makeup for prom. You watch yourself self-destruct. Not take your medication, being unable to afford therapy, wanting help but being unable to accept it, saying the wrong things, hiding away from friends, burning out from the amount of work piled on your shoulders. You watch yourself pick up a razor. You watch yourself contemplate everything in your life, thinking of their reactions, your dogs, your sister, your parents. You left and returned to the same point of the dock, staring at the same water, the same sunsets, the same life that felt like a noose around your neck. Before you let it tighten, and you jumped in the river. It was a bright day, your skin turning red under the sun, and everything was cold and dark. Darker yet darker, you changed your mind. You forgot everything you'd learned in a blind panic, swimming against the current, having to fight to reach the edge of the dock, and then not being tall enough to grab hold of it. Wasting your energy to launch yourself up the wooden edge as you were determined not to die, but not having enough strength to drag yourself up. You watch yourself cry, scream, then go under. You killed yourself. You did this. This was your fault. You threw away your perfectly fine life and your own damn determination dragged you into a different universe. You did this. You thought you knew. You thought you'd see your brother again and that everyone would move on. You thought you knew it was coming after. You knew nothing. You knew nothing about the world or the universe. You were so young. You knew nothing and it got you and Papyrus killed. You were arrogant, you thought the universe belonged to you, loved you, and you got him killed. You were giving a second chance and you threw it. You were given so many chances. You drowned every single one in your own pride. You didn't notice the police had shown up, your ribs rattling and your vision blurry and your breathing fucked. Apollo held you tight, but you could feel nothing but anguish. Faintly you heard him calling someone, but time and sound blurred together as you launched back into your memories. It wasn't until they were dragging the body out of the river that you were able to see again. You were right. That was you. Your hair, your skin, your shoes, your hoodie. You looked up. Your vision still blurred with thick tears, and you didn't even notice you were shedding, just in time to see a white car pull to the dock driveway. A woman, probably around 25 to 28, raced out of the car, a man with a toddler in his arms standing back. She fought the cops to get to the body, screaming and crying, throwing punches and clawing her way forward. You realized where you recognized her. That was your sister. Your sister and all of her tattoos, the ones she let you design for her to have permanently inked into her skin. Your big sister that protected you, heckled you, gave the best advice, the one currently bawling over your body. You did that. You killed them. You felt your soul burn and crack. Your chest heaved, and you felt your socket burn as you cried, collapsing to your knees as you hung your head. Apollo caught you. You kind of wish he'd throw you back in the river. You barely heard them call your name, only able to rasp out, "That's my
That's my sister.
in disbelief and anguish. You would never get her scream out of your head, no matter how hard you sobbed, even as your brother dragged you into the arms of someone else. You caught a glimpse of purple, blues, and reds before you screwed your sockets shut tight and let the firm hand set you in the backseat of a car, resting against someone's chest until you lost consciousness. Apollo had never heard his brother scream before, and he wasn't sure if he could remember ever seeing him cry, but it felt like his soul was being shredded by emotion as he frantically called Edge.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Edge, please.
Edge, staring at the news of a helicopter filmed a body being dragged out of the water from inside the vet clinic, shuddered.
Dear, listen to me.
Sans is panicking, and I've never heard him like this. I don't know what to do, Edge. He's everything I have.
Edge was surprised to find himself standing straighter and having to take a deep breath to control his own emotion.
I know, love. I know. Take a deep breath, dear. You can't help him if you're panicking too, right? Stay on the line. I'm going to call Helvetica to pick the two of you up. He didn't have work today. It's going to be okay, dear. You're safe.
Apollo took in a sharp breath and held it just a little bit too long for Edge's liking, and his breathing picked back up immediately after, but calmed enough to respond.
Okay. What do I need to do?
Edge ripped the landline phone in the clinic from its receiver, dialing Helvetica's number with lightning speed, punching buttons hard enough that Apollo could hear the little clicks.
Carry Kigo away from the noise. Hopefully he'll either snap back into it or he'll fall asleep.
Apollo dragged Kigo backwards, the side of the shack away from the police, but still facing the parking lot.
Okay.
Helvetica answered, and Edge immediately barked orders to get his ass to the dock immediately.
There's a body in the river Kigo and Apollo are at. They're both panicking. Get there now.
Only waiting for a confirmation before hanging up.
Dinner.
Edge?
I'm here, love.
Apollo, holding his brother tight, took a deep breath.
Thank you. I'm going to hang up now.
Edge sputtered.
Why?
You're at work and I'm okay now. Bye.
Edge stared at the end call screen in shock, and Apollo felt bad for doing it, but God did he need to cry and didn't want Edge to hear him. Edge stuffed his phone into his pocket with a frustrated shout before stalking to the manager's room to see why the hell Sarah was taking so long to do some fucking paperwork.
Sarah?
He opened the door but immediately stopped when he saw her. She was staring silently at her phone screen, which was playing the same news as it was on the TV in the front room. If he'd met her just a few months ago, he would have hounded her ass for being distracted, but this new universe taught him patience like no other, and he was able to notice her darkened lashes and unshed tears in her eyes. He frowned, stepping forward and resting a hand on her back.
Sarah?
She opened her mouth but quickly shut it as she forced back a sob.
Sarah?
His brow furrowed.
Sarah?
She sniffed, tilting her head back and aggressively wiping her eyes before finally meeting his. Her expression crumpled as she caught sight of the news again. That's my best friend. Edge wrapped his boss tightly in his arm, setting his cry on his shoulder.
Fuck, I'm so sorry.
It was enough distraction to make him forget all about some stupid handwriting. Mars held the smaller skeleton tight to his chest, staring out the window while Red drove them back home. Classic sat in the passenger seat, typing quickly at his phone. Apollo took the seat to Kigo's right, a hand planted firmly on his sternum. Mars reached down to hold Apollo's hand and wasn't all that surprised when Apollo nearly strangled him in a hug. He wasn't expecting the whisper in his ear, however, voice weak and wavering from tears. Apollo shuddered.
His soul cracked.
Mars tensed.
I'm so sorry, kid.
Classic and Red heard but pretended they didn't, staring out the windshield in front of them and watching the thick clouds block the sun. Red clenched his jaw, side-eyeing Classic before turning his eyes back to the road.
Fuck that machine.
Classic looked out the window, staring at his reflection in the side mirror and Tigo's in the back seat. He still looked so young.
Yeah, bud. Agreed.
They passed a rice field, a few crawfish ponds, and some cane fields. They passed a little oyster house with a large mermaid painted on the front wall, a man sitting on the front porch, head in his knees. They passed a little black car speeding down the highway in the opposite direction, back towards the dock. They had no idea there was a blonde woman inside, screaming and sobbing, her normal gospel music shut off. If there was a God, he wouldn't have stolen her child from her. They passed a large billboard with the simple words, "The end is near." Red glared at it before it faded into the distance behind him. Not if he had anything to say about it. Helvetica was gentle with the woman. He couldn't imagine losing a little sibling, especially not to suicide like the cops suspected. He led her back to the car, letting the fiancé take the wheel while the woman sat in the back with her son. He mourned the fact that the body in the river would never watch their nephew grow up. He talked to the police and dealt with the situation best he could, making sure to keep Apollo and Tigo way the fuck out of the press before hopping on his bike and beginning the long ride home. This universe was much safer than the one he came from, but wasn't without its hardships. He found himself tearing up at the thought of his little brother in that river instead. He hoped with everything in his soul that drowning was painless. He dreamed about water, the inky black waves crashing over your head as you fought to stay about the surface. Splinters digging into your fingers as you dug your bitten nails into the plank of wood that you were using to keep yourself afloat. The sky above you was dark, but you could just barely see the stars. Through your double vision, you could make out Orion's belt, the full constellation, watching you from above. Starlight. At least you had the stars. Another wave crashed over your head, and the wooden plank bashed into your chest. Your sternum hurt. Your soul felt shredded all over again. Cold creeped up your spine, your lies slowly corrupting your soul, drowning you in your own sins. Hey, at least you had experience with drowning, didn't you?
Woo!
Oof.
Yay!
How was that?
The way I just watched the comments, comments include.
I have one question, and did I do good?
It's very good.
A mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Bravo.
I'm so glad I had barely any lines. I don't know how well I did with that.
Anyways, I gotta go
You did
eat.
good.
Combustion.
Yeah.
No, the best. I'm so excited for the future when I can do it in my actual favorite character.
I'm
Oh, no.
asking him to swim away.
That's
Alright,
fine.
I'm done.
Is this the last chapter we're doing?
Yeah, the next one is the
Okay.
last one.
Sweet, because I'm
Just
not
give me a second.
so hot out here.
Something.
I don't think I speak in the show,
Woo!
which is great.
I'm
'cause
gonna be
starving.
not voicing people for a bit, I think.
Oh wait, no, I do. Fuck, freak. Oh no, I don't think you speak for another like 3 chapters.
Something. Amazing.
In case anybody was wondering, it very much is my dog. He's being an asshole.
I had a
Dogs
feeling.
do.
Doggy.
Yeah, he's chilling out here.
Ooh, what do I want to eat? Do I want a rice
I know.
bowl? Do I want a
The man
sushi
is
bowl? That kind of
approaching.
sounds delicious.
I'm leaving.
I literally
Bye.
just had
Bye, Pierre.
here,
Wow.
dog, getting the fuck out of Dodge.
Haha.
Hold on, let me go see what we have to eat.
Well, I might head out of VC as
Oh
well
my
for a little
gosh,
bit.
hi baby, hi baby.
Bye for now.
Wait, no, wait.
What?
Wait, don't we have one more
We do have
chapter?
chapter left.
Yeah,
Did we?
what chapter are we on?
No, I don't
43.
think
We
so.
still
You
have
had
44
40.
to do.
Oh, is it? Oh, shoot, wait. I thought we...
The next one is slightly shorter though.
Well, I don't have to read, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's true. You don't have lines
I'll
for a
still
while.
spectate, though.
Fair
I
enough.
forgot.
I thought Pierre was asking if the chapter we're about to read was the next chapter.
Yeah, I did too. I think they were done though, which I can.
Yeah.
One of us can take over their lines.
Yeah.
Eat my rice. Oh no, I have rice. I'm good. I'm Gucci gang. Our whole fridge smells like strawberry yogurt because we have like 4 containers of it in here.
We're not doing 5 chapters because
No, I just wanted
Jay
to do
wanted
the 4.
Jay wanted to get to this chapter today.
And I thought it was chapter 45 because I would do stuff like that, but I didn't do it that time. Normally I would move it to like an even chapter number, but I forgot. Like I just didn't do that, and I thought I did, which is what I was talking about. I don't know if you can hear the lawnmower.
I don't think so.
Awesome. Because that would have been really funny.
I'm back. Do I need to stop the stream? Is this
No,
the last
not
chapter
yet.
we're doing?
The
Okay.
No,
chapter
we're still
44 is the last
Okay.
chapter we're doing,
Just wanted
and
to make
we're
sure.
about to start it. I just need to.
Hey, have fun.
This was for sure one of our most chaotic readings.
Yeah.
Not the most, but one of them. We're kind of chaotic every time, though, and not gonna lie. TBH. TB of H. Hold on, I'm making rice.
Yeah, I'm also doing
This will
something
take-
real quick.
Yeah, this will take me like 2 minutes just to pop this on in here. I don't have a line immediately, so we can start before I'm ready. But
Yeah.
give me some grace if it does get to my line while I'm not ready.
Yeah. I haven't.
What babies? You have food, you have water. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? They're standing at my feet right now, staring at the food bowl that has food in it. I don't know what you want.
But they want your food. Your food is so much better.
Plain rice.
For the dog kibble, that's for sure.
Can't say. Yeah, actually. Oh, hi, my baby. Oh, I love you. They're so cute. You want? I have freeze-dried liver. You want freeze-dried liver? Ooh, yummy. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Sit.
Dream is
Gucci,
just
sit.
hearing Jay talk to your dog.
Too bad. Stop trying to bite my fingers off, you aggressive ass dog. Frick you forgetting that song my computer. My sheepling. What do you want from me? I gave you a treat. I gave you food. I give you love and affection that you get mad at me for. I need you to understand that one of my dogs, literally, okay, her name is Gucci. She's my oldest dog. She's like 13, and that's old for a Shih Tzu. Okay.
Yeah.
Very old dog. And she's a very grumpy dog, but I love her so much. She's so silly. So, like a couple years ago, she escaped from our fence. Like they dug out the little escape artist, my little Houdinis, like carved a hole under our fence and escaped into the wild. I'm so serious. And in her escape, so we caught the other dogs. The other dogs were not indeed fast enough. Okay. My mom had her like Jeep Wrangler and was chasing them down. So we caught the other dogs. Gucci is fully black. Well, she's black and white now, but that's because she's old. But she's a black dog in a suburban neighborhood. I don't know. She was hiding in the shadows and shit. I don't know what she was doing, but like she escaped our grasp. I'm so serious. And in her escape, she contracted this disease called cherry eye, which basically is the most gruesome way of blinding a dog I've ever seen.
Oh no!
It's really sad, but so my dog is blind. like fully blind, no eyeballs, no eyeballs.
Oh.
It was $3,000 to keep her alive, by the way, because the cherry eye would have killed her if like we just like let it chill. And we were like, well, we don't want her to die. What the fuck? So we spent $3,000 in the surgery, and we saved baby. And she repays us by getting extremely mad at us if we don't put her on the couch, but getting more mad at us if we leave her on the couch, and then smacking us if we don't pet her, and then growling at us when we pet her.
I'm picky ass dog, my goodness. Like a mind.
For we use her for evil. For Halloween, like that year, she still had the stitches in her eyes.
Sobbing. No.
We showed her. We showed her to every small child that came by this house.
Sobbing. You're so evil.
That was my mom's idea. That wasn't even me. My mom's evil, not me. Not me.
I went along with it.
I did think it was hilarious. Okay, listen. Listen, you can't like tell me that that's not absolutely hilarious.
No, this
I live in like in one of the fancy neighborhoods. Like I live in the suburbs. And oh my gosh, it was so funny. We gave so many I need you to understand, adult men were like, no. We also have a 7-foot tall werewolf.
You're just traumatizing the whole neighborhood, aren't you?
Oh yeah. 7-foot tall werewolf that is motion and sound activated. So if you get too close to it or if you walk near it, it goes off and lunges at you. And so what my mom did, and by the way, this is not me. This is my mom. My mom is the evil one. Trust. She like sat. So she used to give out candy to the kids, not me. I was still young enough to like go trick or treating. I say as if I didn't go trick or treating as well last year. Listen, you never know. So she'd stay home and she's trick or treating, and like there's like a little like porch area kind of where like you have to go under a little archway to get to my front door. And so she sat like right in front of the front door and then put the werewolf in the archway so that they'd have to go like right next to they had to go like on top of the wolf to be able to like get the candy from her. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. So many people avoided our house. It was hilarious. Sorry, I'm cutting seaweed for my delicious sushi bowl right now.
As you should. Eat nom nom noms.
You remind me I still have sushi in the fridge. I should probably eat that.
Got handmade sushi. Homemade sushi. I think all sushi is handmade if you really think about it. You're not dumb. I don't think I put enough sauce in you.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Don't get that stuck in my head. Guys, I graduate in 2 days.
Oh,
wow.
I know.
Graduate next year.
Darkwing, do you feel old?
He's feeling old.
I mean, my body doesn't work, so like I always feel old.
Yeah.
That's actually valid.
Okay. I think I'm ready now.
Give me like 2 minutes. I'm just seasoning my rice, and then I'm
okay, that works.
I made too much, but it's okay. Because I will nibble on this later if I don't eat it all right now. I'm putting more sauce. Okay. Oh, baby. What?
What is that giggle?
Oh, don't worry about it.
Squinting at you.
By the way, I hope you guys know I get like so much cuteness aggression when it comes to my dog. Because like I know you can be saying hey baby like every 5 seconds, is because my dogs look like Twinkies. Like I have no better explanation for what my dogs look like other than just little Twinkies of varying cookedness. Like each dog is a little more cooked than the last. I'm serious. Hold on, I'll turn on my camera. I don't know who hasn't seen my dog, if you hasn't seen my dog. These
For the sea, the Twinkies.
These are my dogs. So this is Coco. She's the least cooked. Here's
Aw.
Prada. She's not the least cooked. Come on, Gucci. Gucci. Gucci, don't fuck with me like that. It's crazy. Here's my sushi bowl. It blends in with the counter. Don't worry about it. And my babies and my Crocs, because I don't like walking around barefoot. I like my dogs. Oh, there's my Gucci. Hi, baby. She's my blind one.
As you said, the Halloween jump scare dog.
The one that growls at me every 30 seconds. Hold on. I don't know if she's grumpy right now. My room's a wreck. Give me a break.
My room's also wreck. I can't judge.
Don't spill her cut. Dishes before I get changed. This poor live stream, bro.
Live stream can deal with
RUTH
it.
Reading plus chores with Jay.
Yeah.
Gucci.
Come on.
Can I pick you up? Can I pet you? Oh, you're not grumpy. You're not grumpy right now.
I'm gonna wait until
Bye,
Luna
Jay.
realizes that I turn into a duck.
She's so mean.
I don't think she likes it very much right now.
No, she doesn't like anybody, but then she'll follow me everywhere.
Wow. Make up your mind, girl.
It's part of her charm. Okay. Let me sit down. Let me lock in. Doctor, you can start. My apologies.
I'm showing it because I'm kind of dead in this chapter.
Yeah. Mars carefully laid Kigo onto the couch of the cabin, wrapping him in a blanket before sinking into the couch next to him. Mars kept a hand laid gently on Kigo's head, blocking the light from breaching his skull. Apollo stared at his brother for a moment before collapsing on the couch, resting his head on Kigo's chest. Mars didn't say a word, instead lifting his hand to pat Apollo's head for a moment before returning to Keys. Jupiter had just finished dinner, but couldn't find himself with an appetite. He sat on the floor at Mars's feet, leaning back and staring at the blank TV screen. After a moment, he turned and gently picked up Kigo's arm, sliding his hand up to feel his elbow, then shoulder. He hummed softly with a small nod before resting the arm over Apollo's back.
Did every papyrus die?
Uh-oh.
Do I need to take over for someone?
Well, this is Luna's.
Is Luna alive?
No.
I can take
Luna's
over
eating
Apollo
dinner.
if you got Jupiter.
I can do Jupiter, yeah.
Ha.
Is this Jupiter right here?
It's
Yeah.
Jupiter, yeah.
Okay. Can you repeat the last couple of lines, maybe?
Yeah. He hummed softly with a small nod before resting the arm over Apollo's back.
He's not falling.
He frowned, gently patting Apollo's shoulder.
At least not yet.
Apollo lifted his head a little.
How do you know?
Mars gently lifted Kigo's arm again, offering it to Apollo, who gently took his brother's wrist in his fingertips. Feel his joints? Apollo nodded. When a monster's falling, or starting to fall, their joints get cold. Their palms and bottoms of their feet start to flake dust. Apollo blinked.
Oh, so he's okay?
Mars grimaced, gently patting Apollo's back. For now, yes. There's not much we can do other than hope he wakes up. Kigo's strong, though. Apollo rested his head back on his brother's sternum, staring at his reflection on the black screen.
I don't think I can handle losing him again.
Mars and Jupiter frowned, facing him. Again. He shivered and nodded, shutting his eyes.
Can I tell you about the lab?
Mars leaned down and tapped a skeleton kiss to Apollo's temple, pointedly not mentioning the immediate tears it brought to the youngest's sockets. Course, kid. Apollo took a deep breath.
I woke up at 8.
What felt like a life jacket or a firefighter's coat was thrown over you, weighing you down a little before seeing the feeling of safe, safe, safe into your soul. You gasped for air before another wave hit, dunking you under for a moment before spitting you back out. You watched the shoreline slowly shrink as you drifted farther away from the mansion on the hill. Your arm tingled for a moment, forcing you to drag your attention towards the location, only to see trails of different colored streaks staining your bone, red and 2 shades of orange. You looked at your reflection in the water, saw the defined shape of a hand resting over your skull. Oddly enough, your left side was intact, but you still couldn't see out of that socket. Another wave hit and startled. Your eyes were still open underwater. You fought the current before noticing something was in the water with you. You, of course.
Hold on, do you want me to read Malvery too?
Sure.
Okay.
Helvetica slipped into bed quietly that night. Malvery curled into his side. They didn't turn on the TV, didn't speak, didn't move. Malvery took a deep breath before finally breaking the silence.
I want you to know that I don't have thoughts like that.
Helvetica turned his head to look at him, but had no response. Mal nervously continued.
What happened today was really fucked. I know the same shit and worse happened underground, but it's okay to be shaken by this. It's okay if you're seeing us in that situation. It's okay to be affected.
Vet shut his eyes and gently dragged Malvery into his chest.
Thank you, Paps.
Mal rested his head in the crook of his neck, shuddering softly at the memory. The body, the screaming, Kigo's limp form being carried from the car. Vet noticed, pressing his teeth to the top of his skull.
Sleep. Pause. You're safe here. I've got you.
He almost immediately relaxed. Pause was a nickname given to represent a callback, but not reinstating of the collared days. Malvery honestly didn't mind the nickname much, but the connotation grew hurtful after it was used demeaningly so many times. But Pause was different. In their own unspoken understanding, Pause represented the good parts of being collared, despite the situation being long gone. It meant that Sans was still his protector, just without the name-calling and leather around his throat. When Malvery was little, he used to be Pup, or Puppy, similar to Pap and Pappy, but he felt he'd outgrown it, so Pause. Classic felt vaguely ill, sitting on the floor in the basement with his skull resting on his knees. It didn't take all that long for someone to settle next to him with a huff, warmth immediately radiating from them. A heavy arm landed over his shoulders, dragging his form into their side. Classic let them, taking in the smell of sweet cherry mixed with a bonfire and spiced whiskey. Red. Didn't take long for Classic to shudder, leaning into his hold. Red hummed softly.
Go ahead, reading them.
Nobody here.
Uh,
I can do this one too. So
wait, Soda.
Oh yeah, Soda's
Yeah,
here.
so Red.
Okay. I know this isn't your first body, despite what your LV says. You've got. Wait, what? What's got you freaked out, Nilla?
He shivered, shifted to stare at the ground in front of him. And, it was suicide. Little sibling. Classic grimaced and let his head fall back into his knees. I keep imagining taps in the water. Red hummed softly.
I gotcha. The sister didn't know they were suicidal?
Classic shook his head. That said, sister said they seemed so happy. Had their whole future lined up. Never showed signs. Red nodded a little.
She might be right, but Nilla, she's human. They don't have soul bonds and connections like we do.
He smiled a little.
It's alright to be a little freaked, sure, but don't go and think Pyrus is suicidal because of it. If I could feel whether or not Edge is pissed at a customer, I'll be able to feel Pyrus' hope dropping. And you would too, because Pyrus has a lot of it, and you're a control freak.
Started a small snicker out of him. Classic sighed softly. Yeah, you're right. Red grinned, leaning back on the base of the counter, shifting a little to the hinge of the cabinet door, shifting a little so the hinge of the cabinet door wasn't pressing into his spine.
Now, why are you in the basement?
Classic glanced at the machine. When I started dragging you guys through, at first I was nervous. I didn't want the complications, the fighting, having more people to worry about. It was mostly fine when it was just Blue and Stretch, but when you and your brother came through, I realized I was kind of saving you guys. He frowned and stared at his shoes. Underground, I always waited. I waited until I had to act. But we're on the surface now, and I wanted to change. It's why I kept fucking with the machine. Red blinked.
Seriously? I thought you missed your dad.
Classic scoffed lightly. He didn't really raise us. Spoiled us for a while in Hotland, then died. Mainly wanted his research. He wasn't a bad person. Not like yours or Kigo's, but I mean, he gestured around the room. I don't think we need him anymore. We've nearly perfected universal travel in my fucking basement. Red grinned wryly.
So, what's the plan then?
Classic shrugged. Finish the machine. Let the people who want to go home go back. We'll build something to keep in touch, or for them to visit. Once everything's settled, occasionally take the brothers from a random universe to see if they need help. If they want to go home, we let them go. If they want to stay here, Classic smiled softly. I mean, all the space in the world, right? Red softened, hugging Classic closer to his side.
You're a good person, Classic.
He curled up a little further, crossing his arms over his knees and stuffing his face into them so Red wouldn't see his soft blush. Thanks. They sat in silence for a little while before, Red turned to look at him. Classic made eye contact before looking away. You were always welcome to stay. Oh. Her red cheeks and nose ridge went hot. Hell, that was going to be a problem.
I heard gay skeletons and I'm revived.
You know.
Oh, Lily, you're here. Great. Take back your characters.
I'll take custody. I'll take him.
That's what I said. I don't have to miss your characters anymore.
It's your line, too.
Everything was...
lock in.
Shut up. Everything was really dingy. I woke up not being able to speak, which I still don't really understand, but when I woke up, Hugo was right there. He's...
Apollo's expression crumpled.
He's always been there. Even when we forced apart, and when I was mad at him for it, he was there.
Mara squeezed his shoulder, and he'll still be here, no matter what, kid. Apollo teared up and shuddered.
Kigo took everything for me.
Morris tilted his head. What do you mean? Apollo turned to Kigo, eyes shut and a calm expression on his face.
In the lab, Gaster did plenty of tests on me, sure, and the training was intense, but...
He shuddered.
Kigo has been going through textbook torture since he was 13. DT injections, routine starvation, purposeful magic overexertion.
Mars and Jupiter made eye contact over Apollo's head. What the fuck? Apollo continued, not having noticed.
It was horrible, and I had no fucking clue it was going on.
Mars gently stroked the top of Kika's skull, Jupiter getting up to shut off the lights. He kept it a secret. Apollo nodded solemnly.
He's always keeping secrets.
He huffed softly, then his soul ached at the thought of him being pissed at his brother as he's dying under him. Apollo slipped his arms under Kika's ribs and held him tight.
He does it to protect me. He's a good brother.
Jupiter settled back down on the floor, absent-mindedly tracing the arch of Kika's nose bridge.
He is, isn't he?
Apollo nodded.
Yes. He sacrificed everything for me, and he still blamed himself for the fire.
Mars frowned. He blamed himself? Apollo hesitated.
Kigo gave up everything he physically could. Everything.
Mars and Jupiter shared another glance. What are you implying, kid? Apollo let his forehead drop to Kigo's sternum again.
He gave up a shard of his soul to keep me from being tested on.
Mars and Jupiter immediately felt a wave of nausea and fucking fury racing through their shared bond. Mars cleared his throat before rumbling out. Gaster fucking what? In the distance, you saw a small flare light up the sky. You could have sobbed, kicking your feet to propel you closer to whatever shot it, as well as creating as much distance as you could between you and the body in the water. That wasn't you anymore. So, let me get this straight, kid. Mars growled out, soul pulsing angrily. Gaster forced him to give up a piece of his soul to protect you. Jupiter glared at the open air, sockets narrowed.
What
Apollo huffed softly.
An asshole? Yeah. Kigo?
He groaned as the thought forced hot tears to his sockets again. He just stopped crying.
Sans is only 16.
Mars and Jupiter stared at the sleeping skeleton for a long moment. And Gaster deserved a fate worse than death. Apollo shrugged lightly.
I'd like to think he's suffering it now.
Mars's brow furrowed. What do you mean?
Like...
Apollo blinked.
Shoot me. Like... went to hell. Eternal damnation and all that.
He got a wry smile.
Well, hell doesn't really work like that, but I'm sure Kigo made sure...
Mars grabbed his shoulder. What are you talking about, kid? Apollo froze.
Do you not know what heaven and hell is? Because there would be a very long conversation, I fear.
Mars shook his head. I know what the stuff is. I mean, why do you know how hell works? Apollo paused.
Wait. You don't... You haven't guessed? Or... No?
He grimaced, glancing at Kigo before looking back to Mars.
I mean, he showed you his wings. I thought...
At Mars and Jupiter's blank looks, Apollo blanched, pressing the heel of his hand to his brow.
Shit. I thought he told you.
He glanced around the room.
The wings, the hole in my head, or an hole in his head. Shoot me! I'm trying to be angsty. Please, put a hole in put a hole in Army Dreamer Virus's head or something. Anyways,
aggressive.
Frick, what is on my foot.
You
Frick.
want me to reread?
No, I'm going to reread it. Go ahead.
He glanced around the room.
The wings.
Go ahead.
The hole in his.
Are we Russian?
You know the accents, did ya?
Let me put cold water on my face or something. I had a thing going and then I messed it up. Frick!
Okay, let's try this again.
The wings, the hole in his head, my rib cage. He blaming for himself for the fire. I thought you knew.
Mars felt his soul pick up, anxiety racing back and forth between his and Jupiter's bond as Apollo sat up with wide sockets. Knew what, kid? His hands shook, and he clenched his jaw hard enough to ache before forcing out.
We never made it out of the fire.
What was left of Apollo's ribcage heaved lightly as he stared at the red-eyed skeleton.
Mars, we're dead. Oh my gosh!
Holy shit, that was the biggest plot twist I've ever experienced in my entire life, and I just left to go get dinner, and then I came back, and then I'm reading this, and I haven't even read this book at all.
Well, maybe
I literally
if you
stopped at chapter 6 and just came here.
7.
Maybe if I had just read the book, I literally
Literally
got to
one more
chapter 6,
chapter.
And
I read
everything would have
chapter
made sense.
6 and never went past it.
You know, this is the funniest. It's a plot twist to the rest of us. It's
I can't get over this. I had a good thing going. What the frick?
Apollo has a hole in his head now.
Apparently, yeah.
Sobbing. Guys,
Can
I
we make
literally,
that canon for Army Dreamers? Put a
Yes,
hole in
no,
Pirace's head.
do that.
Don't tempt me.
That's okay.
I
You're
will
going to
back
Oh
them
my
too.
god. Oh my goodness, that was crazy, chat.
That's
I'm already
insane,
planning on
chat.
blinding Judge. I mean, the
Yep.
Sobbing.
Anyways, that's the end of this. I have to rewatch my stream after this because I want to hear myself being angsty.
Oh my gosh,
Narcissism
I
at its
literally
best.
did that too. I know, I did that too, bro. That's how I knew you were ratting on me in the
narcissism?
last stream.
No, actually, that's just Sam trying to fuck himself again.
So you?
Oh.
Sobbing.
At some point, I switched from my Discord profile to a duck.
Fuck.
What?
Good thing I wasn't here.
Sobbing.
I didn't see it.
The thing I
If
ignored that, I
didn't
guess.
see
I
it,
don't even
nothing
know.
happened.
Exactly.
On Luna's stream, I mean.
Oh, sobbing.
Oh my goodness.
Wait,
God, I was
hold on, let me
like,
check it. What? Why are you a duck?
Don't worry about it.
don't worry
What's
about
up,
it.
Amanda?
It's
Oh
not
my
that
God.
big a deal.
I don't even know what mood
Duck.
Darkling was for, but
Let me just
Chat,
do
I'm
this real
fucking
fast.
crying.
This is hilarious.
I just got done eating and came back, and then that's you guys at the end.
I'm
Yee.
And then
Behind you now.
and that's when I decide to talk about how wow that plot twist is crazy considering
That's
how I
insane,
haven't even read the
guys.
book. I literally
Yeah, I
Okay,
can't
I'm
believe
gonna
you're
stop
not
my
reading the
screen.
fic.
Say
Don't
goodbye,
read the
everybody.